Chapter 46, Extra, The Interview, 2, Disclaimer, I own nothing. This story has no interest in offending any party, having the sole objective of only entertaining the readers. Enjoy. If you don't take risks, you can't create a future. Monkey D. Luffy. AN, little things to address here and now. As many had already noticed, the MC is not being entirely truthful, even if he said that he would. He mixed his origin story with the Dr. Manhattan one, a good excuse if people ask themselves how does he know so much, he is so young. When I died, truth, for the time that I was dead, I awakened my super strong cosmic senses and glimpses many truths, lie, meta-knowledge, 90% of what he said is the truth, use your own understanding of him to know when he is bullshitting. By the way, this interview is happening in the middle of chapter 45. After he summoned and used his new cards, but a little before he visited the Xavier mansion, and talking about some things that he will say in this chapter. The MC has done things Todd haven't be showed in the story. I'm talking about when he used the all-seeing eyes of God from space to check Earth. A little after this he did a little recon in many places like the Inhumans, Atlantis, Kunlun. I didn't mention it before because would be a bunch of useless infodump because it's not the time of these places sagas. When the place is important of the story, don't be surprised if the MC already knows it a little. Now, enjoy. I'm the only one that thought that is cool as heck. Page says about the many forms of idolan. Nope. I will make it a GIF and then my resting screen. Kitty says he can be like a Lovecraftian horror. Jean comments how many changes happening in his body. Bobby asks I don't know, later we put in slow motion. I said before that I don't like the term homo superior. This is because I don't believe that we are very far from normal people. If we are truly another step in evolution, our bodies would adapt much more easily to the changes. Idolan says on the TV we are not ready to have powers. He says possibly to emphasize that is the truth. But here we are. So we need to make the best of what we have. How do you think will be the future of humanity then? Steve asks like 1 million years from right now. Yeah, maybe. Idolan pauses to think if we survive. He starts to some nervous laughs from the audience. I think our genome would find the common denominator and everyone would have the same set of powers. The same package. How so? I think everyone in the future will have the same thing, like how everyone has the same limbs and 5 senses. Some would be better than others, some could be born without it, in special cases. But I think there will be a pattern. Metahumans would lose their individuality. I see. So what powers do you think everyone will have? Telepathy, telekinesis, super strength and other super physical attributes. And, that's it. They are the most common. There must be a reason for that. The X-Men think that makes sense, so everyone would be Jean on steroids in the future. Kitty asks looks boring. Speak says it's just a theory that he comes at the moment. But makes sense. On the evolutionary process, some traits overlapped others, so after many offsprings is possible that we really will have the same set of powers. Dr. McCoy says Rogue looks at the screen pondering if is always possible to control the powers with practice. She has never made any progress, don't matter how hard she tried. In the past, even after absorbing idolan for a while, her body progressed ever after the effect wore off, but her control over her power doesn't changed. Maybe she should ask for tips from idolan directly. Continuing the talk, the host touches idolan's mantle and comments. Sorry, but I couldn't help but be curious. Your hero costume, clothes, whatever. They're made of what? He asks. Curious about my mantle? Touching it is weird, huh? Idolan turns to Steve. Yes, is strange. He says while caressing the mantle that rests on the armchair. Well, I can brag a little. Idolan says with a chuckle. I'm not lying by the way, but... He pauses knowing exactly what reaction his words will bring. This mantle was made from the darkest shadows of a magical forest sown by an immortal fae using starlight that escaped between the leaves. Idolan explains without a pause. Steve just looks at him with a face that asks, are you serious? Are you serious? Yes. Faes. Like fairies. Yes. I have so many questions. The host speaks tiredly. Ask later. Let me explain the rest of my suit. Idolan raises his SRMS. This suit is a little similar to the ones used by the Fantastic Four. Is made of unstable molecules and nanobots. He adapts to my many powers and self-repairs. Because of this he is still intact even after my transformations. Damn, That sounds incredible. I always asked myself why some of you don't use a cool armor like of Tony Stark. Well, is useless to me. The purpose of armor is to increase your capabilities, the level of Stark ones is not enough. In truth, would restrict my capabilities, or even break easily if I go a little overboard. Idolan says, ouch. Now I'm hurt. Tony comments jokingly while watches the interview in his lab. Bzzzt. An arm robot goes to touch his shoulder. There's no need to console me, dummy. Is the same principle with a gun. I can do more damage and I'm faster than a gun. So, is useless. On my Thor and Hulk level is always better to use some antique weapon like a sword, club, or hammer. I see. And your face. The whole world is curious. You're so powerful and many the other heroes don't care about secret identity. So why don't show what is under the mask? Steve gives it a try and the audience shouts on approval. Do you want me to show my face? Well, would be interesting. Steve laughs. Idolan appears to be thinking, are you ugly? Steve asks, trying to goad Idolan. Quite the opposite. Idolan chuckles, happy with himself that he makes a reference is not a big deal to show what is under the mask. He says calmly, seriously. Steve asks, surprised. Could be this the moment? Seriously. Here, look. Idolan grabs the top of his mask with 2 fingers and pulls it off. On the whole world, people waited holding their breath and inclining themselves closer to their screens. Idolan finally removes it. Here, there's another mask under the mask. He says, smiling with his eyes. A tisk sound could be heard on the whole world at that moment. I knew it. Black Widow comments, that guy never let the guard down. This guy is like 2 universes ahead of us. Kitty says, on the mansion he is such a troll. Paige comments, who has a mask under a mask. Maria Hill on the helicarrier comments, this is something Fury would do. Are you two related? Natasha asks, that's it. I'm putting you to watch Stark again. Fury says no. Natasha's face fell. Yeah, I should know that would not be that easy. Steve comments back. At the studio. Haha. Don't feel bad and let me explain. Idolan laughs. Yeah, many heroes don't have a secret identity. That's nice, but this shouldn't be the rule. Cartoons are right in showing heroes worried about their loved ones. Many people would step that low, and not everyone lives in huge buildings full of security. I wear my mask in solidarity to all the heroes that want to maintain themselves anonymous for their own reasons. If even Idolan wants my secret identity, let them have their secret identity too, he says, and is applauded a little. Makes sense, by the way. Why don't you cover all of your face? Why only the lower half? There's a reason for it. Idolan starts, when I started this Idolan thing, I needed to decide my uniform. I want to cover a good part of my face, but not all. Why? He asks Steve. No idea. I want to people see that I'm human. He answers seriously. Could look dumb now, but was a thing that I considered greatly in the past. First, I thought in covering myself completely. He gesticulates to his whole body. He continues, a good idea. People wouldn't know about my appearance, if I'm black, Asian or Arab. I thought about that. To make people connect themselves with the idea of Idolan more easily. Would be an interesting idea. Idolan comments, with time I threw that idea out in the wind. More important than that is that people would see Idolan as a human. I have to say, I'm not hiding and change of my body. This is me, I'm a white male. Big surprise? Heh. That's the only thing that you guys will ever get from me. Continuing, after I decide to show a little of my face, I need to choose what part to show. I choose my upper part for some reasons. What reasons? You can see that this half mask covers all my orifices with the exception of my eyes. Idolan shows his ears, nose, and mouth that are covered. This help me don't be infected by any substance and prevents people from getting my DNA too. I don't want to be cloned after all. Clones? This world is getting crazier and crazier. You don't know half of it. Idolan half scoffs. Can you imagine a clone of me? Is no joke. I take this very seriously. You're right, I doing this. And your hair? Wouldn't be an easy way to get your DNA. Nah, I have taken some precautions to this. Is this your real hair? White like that? Idolan pauses. I don't want to answer that. He says, smiling. Okay. Now that we understood Idolan's wardrobe, let me change the topic. Go on. You say something about fairies before. So, how many of these fairy tales, conspiracy theories, and myths are true? We know that Thor is real. But what more? He asks an important question almost all of them. Idolan answers without hesitation almost all of them. Yay, like 95% or higher. Some stories maybe have a twist but a very good part is real. Idolan says, can you give an example? Idolan laughs, haha. What do you want to talk about? The pantheons of gods? Atlantis? Santa Claus? Hell? The place where dinosaurs are still alive? Or about other historic figures that are secretly metas or demigods? Idolan asks like nothing of this is mind-blowing. Idolan simply stare at him. I think I will have an aneurysm. Fury puts his hand on his forehead. You're cappin'. Steve finally says no, I'm not. Really? Santa Claus? Dinosaurs? Really? Aliens? Norse gods? Portals? Idolan mimics his tone. Not so weird now, huh? Okay, sigh, I'm going crazy here. Steve rubs his forehead. Can you talk a little about these things? Yes, just a little. Dinosaurs. Yes, they're preserved in a certain place that I will not disclose there. For their protection. I call the place Savage Land. I even want to take a T-Rex pet but I didn't find one that was alone, so would be a bad move to take them from there just to be my pet. The logistic would be problematic too. Why he want a T-Rex pet? Paige asks confused. Why wouldn't he? Warren, women. Speak, sighs. Hey, I'm a woman and find dinos super cool too. Kitty exclaims, receiving nods from Jubilee too. Ignoring how cool would be a dino pet. By the way, would be super cool. Dr. McCoy comments, adjusting his glasses. A place where the prehistoric biome is preserved is a huge discovery. Can you imagine all the plants and animals that we thought extinct but are still walking and breathing? Susan says excitedly to her friends, we could maybe discover cures to modern day's diseases and she can't even continue just thinking about the possibilities. I want a pterodactyl pet to fly with me. Johnny comments, ignoring her seriously. Is this what you're thinking right now? Susan huffs, I want a triceratops. Ben comments in a low voice, making Susan face palm while Alicia giggles. Boys. A dino pet? Haha. I give up. I swear that I will not be surprised with anything anymore. Wanna bet? Idolan looks at him. Steve stares back, not intimidated. $10 deal. Every time that you be surprised you give me $10, and if the interview end without you getting surprised I will give you a personal gift. A special gift from Idolan. He says after thinking a little. Steve answers deal. And they shake hands. So, Atlantis. Yay, exist too. In truth, there are many hidden civilizations on this planet, cut from the world and living on their own rules, self-sufficient. I will not say more because it's not my place to tell. Like the thing that you said before. The Inhumans or something. Steve tries to remember. Yeah, they're like Meta but not quite the same. They live on the moon. Their king is very strong, by the way, Omega level. I will not say his power for obvious reasons. Try not to mess with them, world. Idolan says to the camera, really? Can you defeat him? There's no reason to fight him. He is a very quiet guy. Haha. And Idolan laughs at his own joke. But yes? And Santa Claus? Really? At this moment Idolan gives a sad sigh. Yeah, Santa Claus is real. By the way, he is meta, mutant. You guys hate us so much but like Santa Claus. Well, the hypocrisy. Dude. What? Steve tries to say something, but is too shocked to muster the words. Idolan extends his hand. Steve look at this for a while before someone of the production go give him his wallet and he gives $10 to Idolan. The hero chuckles and continues. Okay, calm down. Yeah, Santa Claus is real. I even visited them. Eat the cookies of Mrs. Claus, they're delicious by the way. Idolan brags and then raises his hands to show a hollow selfie of him and an elderly woman with a kind face. Is this Mrs. Claus? Steve asks, pointing to the picture. Yes, very nice lady. Give really strong grandma vibes. Idolan says, and Santa? But, how have we never met him? With today's technology and... The host says but is interrupted by Idolan. I haven't met Santa. He was holed up in his room. Mrs. Claus told me the cause. Apparently, he has symptoms of depression. Idolan says sadly, Santa is depressed. Yeah, dude. He is not a god or a spirit or whatever. He is a guy that was born many years ago, awakened his powers and decided to give kids around the world gifts. His origin is complicated to explain. Idolan says he started to become like that in 1915. And after this, He never appeared anymore. So this is why he became a legend and a lie to the children, you can understand, right? Idolan gives a side glance to Steve and then to the Chimera. 1915, this. Yes, we made the man depressed with the world wars. Idolan mouths out everyone thoughts, damn, now I'm depressed too. Don't be, my friend. I will try to help the old guy. Can you imagine? Idolan saves Christmas? Haha. Would be a nice Christmas story to tell with rhymes. His joke makes Steve and the audience laugh. Ha ha ha. I have to say, Idolan, you're a little different from what I expected. Steve confess, is that so? How come? You know, you look that unapproachable angry guy, dark clothes, intimidating. Steve squares his shoulders and makes an angry face to show what he is talking about. The audience agrees with him and Idolan chuckles too. There's a video that made me laugh so much. Steve says, suddenly remembering it, that I almost don't believe that was you on the video. Haha. Can you show the video, production? He asks his assistants. The big screen on the studio changes, showing a scene of a wedding. Idolan laughs again and covers his eyes with his right hand, recognizing the video. I can explain, he says, still finding it funny. The video goes like this. At an outdoor wedding, the bride has her back turned to a bunch of female guests, and she is ready to throw the bouquet. She finally throws it and then a red beam of heat cuts the air and destroys the whole thing, shocking everyone. The camera changes focus, showing Idolan floating in the air. The day is saved again, by Idolan, he says heroically before flying away. The camera once again changes focus, this time to the many male guests, boyfriends of the women that wanted the bouquet. Our hero. The one that we want, but not deserves. They murmur gratefully. The video cuts off. And everyone is laughing. That is one of the funniest thing that I have ever seen. Did you just happen to be passing by and decided to help those poor souls? Steve asks, smiling. Haha. There's a backstory to that video. Idolan starts first. I met the groom early that evening. His car has broken and he was desperate on the side of the road. I helped him and his best men. During my talk with them, this idea of a prank appeared, so I have gone with it. They are cool with that? Much cooler than just throwing the bouquet. Steve comments, yeah, in truth. The bride is someone that I have saved during the invasion. Idolan reveals, really? Yeah, they invited me to stay, gave me a slice of the cake. I have taken some pictures. Was nice. They're a good couple. I wish them happiness. Damn, that was nice. You have no idea. Is one of the perks of this job, you know? See the people that I helped continuing their lives, being happy, seeing their families happy too and relieved that they are all right. Many people say that I'm naive, that I don't really help, only saving by one person at a time, that I should do more, focus on more pressing issues. Idolan takes a breath. Maybe to the world don't matter if I saved a random woman under some debris, but to them. Idolan points to the big screen showing the couple, it means the world. He says the audience and even Steve stand up to applaud Idolan words. Ha, this guy is really cool. Kitty comments, holding her head. I'm almost became a groupie. Page adds. After some time and the audience subside, Steve continues talking. You know, Idolan, I'm a little afraid of asking. He says, a little unsure. Are you curious about gods and myths? Especially the Bible and others similars. Idolan guess. Yes. I believe that is a touchy subject. Idolan puts his fingers on his chin. I can say what I know. The hero then stars. Let's start light. As you all can guess, in many myths and legends there's some truth behind it, as a grounding. Many of these cases come from mutants, of the time that started this whole thing. People are more gullible, there's no science, so many are worshipped as gods or viewed as monsters. Idolan explains, I see. Many pagan religions came from that. Aliens. 2. Big pantheons like the Norse, Egypt, Indian and Greek ones are more legitimate. Legitimate in the sense of the gods really be something else other than a human that awakened his powers or a random powerful alien that happens to pass by. Egypt, Indians, and Greeks too. Yep, most humans with powers that are interpreted as gods have their names erased by history eventually. We rarely remember them. Most of them have normal lifespans. So is reasonable to say that these pantheons are the real deal. And what is your take on it, Idolan? Do you worship any god? Steve asks, is hard to worship a god when I can pummel most of them on the ground. Idolan chuckles, damn. Steve laughs too, but answering more seriously. No, I don't have a religion. People's take on gods are really different from reality. Gods aren't always watching you, guarding you, and not all of them have good personalities. Any historian can attest that about the Greek pantheon. Idolan says, smiling. The ones that understand agree. He continues, obviously, we can't take all the stories at face of value. As an example, that story of Loki and the horse. Haha. Sorry, he pauses to hold back his laughter. That story is only a rumor that someone started as a petty revenge. The ones that know the story laughs too. The thing is, some gods aren't worth worship. They are not all benevolent and care about us. I see them as people with powers and only respect the ones that earned it. If not, I would treat them normally. He says, I've seen some people talking about worshipping Thor. A difficult prospect. If you want, okay, but you have to understand that Thor can't help you in, let me see, pass an exam, cure you, or other things. He is the god of thunder. Idolan continues, he is a nice guy. I think he would be happy if you just make a toast for him when going out for a drink, thanking him or whatever. He doesn't know now, but his words caused a habit of making a toast a Thor when drinking alcohol. You guys have to know that worshipping someone just as a guarantee or because he/she is powerful is not the right path. If you want to worship someone or adhere to some religion, study the dogmas, rules, teachings, and if is compatible with your lifestyle or if makes you feel good with yourself, go for it. But this is not a game. Idolan finishes, makes sense. It was like that. We could just worship you. Steve says jokingly, you, stop that. Don't do that, please. Is weird. Idolan says with an uncomfortable face. Haha, okay. Now, I avoided it long enough. Let's talk about the church. Idolan says, that's a touchy subject. The biggest religion in the world. The relationship between me and the church is complicated. He starts since many time ago. The church killed metas in the Inquisitions. The witch hunts are basically this. But I can't throw this solely on them. Many people hunted people with powers in the past with fear. But nowadays in every anti-mutant protest, you will find some religious justifications that we shouldn't exist. Someone with a board that God hates mutants. He laughs, is true. What is weird because the church itself never commented on the topic of mutants, but the people, So my take on Christianity is something like that. Jesus was a nice guy, but the fan base spoils everything. Steve can't contain his awkward smile. That's the problem, is being so big. There are many rotten ones that use the name to bad things and to justify bad behavior. Idolan shrugs his shoulders. They forgot the most important teaching, that is to love the others. The Bible has good teaching that anyone should practice. Are you a Christian, Steve? Well, but I'm like keeping the faith and losing my religion. Steve confesses, I believe in God, but there's so many things that I disagree, and other things that discourage me. At this time, scandals of sexual predation of minors is gaining spotlight on media too. I understand. Idolan nods. Well, what I can say about the greatest religion in the world, I'm not sure. There are records of winged people, there's a hell, and Jesus existed. But I can't say more than this. If you follow this religion, and it makes you feel better and be a better person. Again, continue. Idolan suddenly continues, by the way, evolutionism is a fact. The earth is round, not flat. Sorry to all that believed that stuff. But don't think that this is proof that the Bible is wrong. One thing doesn't exclude the other. He says, so you can't confirm the existence of. Steve doesn't finish because there's no need to it. No, maybe he doesn't exist. Maybe he is so above me that I can't tell. Maybe Nizish is right and he is dead. Who knows? About this subject, I can't help much. Idolan shrugs his shoulders. Let me tell you something. He suddenly says, Marvel's take on this religion is confusing. God appears to not be the same as the one above all, like the presence is in DC. God has suffered from alcoholism. There's some comics spreaded about this. Sinister one time commented of a mutant from Nazareth, implying that Jesus is a mutant. This theme is touched because would be touched in a real interview. But I will not bring these things. Heck, if even Marvel don't know what they're doing, poor me. Go on. Talking a little lower than this whole gods thing. Vampires, demons, werewolves, dragons. These things exist too. To this day. So be careful. He says. Steve's eyes widens a little and he gives $10 to Idolan. Explain more yet. Things like vampires and other monsters exist, hidden under our noses, so, please, don't romanticize them. I mean, not all of them are monsters, but you know, many have different views that sometimes were impossible to rationalize with them. Idolan changes position on his chair. Most of monsters and demons see you guys as a food or toys, is intrinsically on their being. As much as a lion would see you guys as a food too. Is possible to coexist? Yes. We can talk with each other, so is possible. I just want you guys to take care. Be careful out there, the world is very dangerous. Don't try to play in dark and haunted places, don't try to summon demons, don't make contracts or deals. I repeat, this is not a game. Idolan finishes. Seriously, what a strange world to live. We need to be careful about being killed by monsters. Steve comments, shaking his head, still talking about this being a dangerous world. I will tell a story. Idolan speak. Okay. One day, I was driving. You drive. The host interrupts. Idolan looks at him. I'm really curious about the image that you guys have of me. He shakes his head. I don't know. Steve says, unsure. I thought that you would fly everywhere, that lives in a secret place. Well, I like having a life too. And there's a thing called discretion, and yes, I have a secret civilian identity. I can be your mailman, have a restaurant, be a doctor. Who knows? But let me focus on the story. Okay, go on. So, I was driving and I was going to pass to the other side of the road. I gave the signal. But I saw a biker coming very fast. So I stopped and goes back to my line. Idolan gesticulates the situation. I don't know why, but the guy has taken offense to what I did. He shrugs his shoulders, maybe because I have cut him or whatever. But he passed by my car and bang! Idolan moves his arm. He punches my left rear view. Steve gives a look like he is hearing a very dumb thing. This guy punched ei.do.lon. Rear view. His way of talking brings some laughs. Yes, he destroyed it and accelerated and continued on his way, cursing me. Now, I can see your reaction, and is about this that I want to talk about. Obviously, being me, I just ignored it and continued with my life. But what if is not me? Idolan asks darkly. What if is a less moral person with powers? Or a guy having a bad day with powers? That could simply move the arm and throw your bike to the side, making you meet your end in the front of a truck. Is scary to imagine this, huh? Yeah. The advice that I want to give is, don't look for trouble, you never know who is the other person. Don't bully, don't fight, don't argue, don't harass. Is a dangerous world we live in. You guys know that now. He continues, looking at the camera. Unfortunately, sometimes the only things that prevent someone to do atrocities are the consequences. And having power sometimes means that you don't need to deal with the consequences. There are people that can telekinetically push you on the trails of a subway, teleport you to the rainforest, desert, or in the middle of the ocean, kill you in your sleep and makes it appear that was a heart attack. I can, probably, later find out what happened and bring the culprit to justice, but would be too late for you. So just avoid conflicts with strangers. He says seriously, that was a good advice. Seek peace, people. The host completes. The interview continues with other themes. Let's talk about more light things, Idolan. Things that won't make me question my existence and everything else. Steve jokes, ho ho. Okay. But then Idolan's expression changes. Excuse me for 22 seconds. He lifts his fingers and then blurs, disappearing. The host looks around confused like everyone. Exactly 22 seconds later, Idolan appears on his chair again. Sorry, almost an accident in a car pursuit. You're talking. He says, I will ask later about your heroic activities, but let me ask your opinion about a controversial topic before it. Go on. Magneto. Steve says slowly, what is your opinion about him? He is the other big name of mutants/metas. Do you know him personally? On the asteroid M, the Brotherhood of Mutants perks up upon hearing the mention of their leader and wait to see what Idolan will say. Whoa, I thought that you would take Lily now. Idolan chuckles on the big screen where the reunited top members of the Brotherhood are watching. There's a huge oval table on the middle of this room. Magneto is sit on the edge, with Mystique and Sabretooth by his immediate side. Magneto, huh? Idolan thinks a little. I never met the man. I wish. I really want to talk to him, to be truthful. Idolan says calmly, really? Only talk? The TV host asks a little strangely. Idolan looks at him and appears to realize something. Ah, I see. You all really have a very bad impression of him, huh? He says, well, I mean, I understand, he did bad things. Is normal to be wary or even scared of the guy. Idolan says, but I'm not gonna fight him on sight, if this is what you're asking. Even if don't condone his actions, I can understand him. Idolan says, surprising the Brotherhood that is watching really. The host asks skeptically, well, I need to give a little of context. Idolan says, how much do you know about Magneto? Beyond his evil actions. Where he come from, his nationality, age. Nothing, huh? Yeah, I expected that. Idolan looks around. Little Magneto is old, 70 years maybe, from German. Idolan starts talking slowly. He gives a side glance to the TV. He has been there, you know, Auschwitz. Idolan reveals, shocking the host, the audience, and the world. Like I said, I don't agree with his actions. But the guy lived to see his two people, race, or whatever you want to call, being oppressed and suffering. Probably lost loved ones. So is not weird, is almost reasonable that when he has the power to do something, he will do something. This guy is smart. If there's one thing that people around the world hate more than us, is Nazis. Fabian Cortez comments while reclining lazily on his chair. A pity that his upbringing made him an extremist. He doesn't even notice that he became the thing he hates the most. Idolan says, sighing. But he is old, and the world is not an easy place to change. I don't know what happened with him in detail, but he must have lost hope. Mystique looks at her boss. Idolan's description is very accurate. You know, besides me and Magneto, there's another group that thinks in the meta question. But they are much more peaceful. Slowly trying to teach coexistence with the metas. First to later work on the rest of the world. Idolan says, Xavier children, huh? Cortez says, I wouldn't compare them to us. They haven't done anything so far. He says, really? I never heard of that. Is natural, the world wouldn't accept that, so they remain hidden. If you want to make a poor comparison, the leader of these pacifist group is like Martin Luther King and Magneto like Malcolm X. Idolan says, I see. I would be on the exact middle ground of it. Thanks to many factors, like my powers and the situation of my awakening, I have a clear picture of the world, dangers, people's hearts, and evil people's motivations. So I don't think that either of them are completely right or completely wrong. He says. He then continues, ideals without strength is just words at the wind. But strength without morals is just violence. I use my powers to show the great potential for good that metas have, and I believe that brings weight to my words, and I'm a patient man. Is okay for me to change people's views slowly, principally of the children. They are taught to hate, if I present another perspective. They are not dumb. Children are our future. My fight is for them, Idolan says. To the applause of the audience, he then sighs sadly. The problem is the many metas suffering right now. Sometimes I want to speed up the process, be a little more forceful. Sigh is because of this that I understand Magneto. He prioritizes the metas. But this is wrong. Humanity is our roots. We are on this together. Divided we fall, together we stand. Nothing can stop us if we work together. Idolan looks at the ceiling. Sometimes I just want to grab all world leaders and throw them at a room and say, now talk, solve it. Silence prevails in the place where the Brotherhood is reunited. Raven. The voice of Magneto is finally heard. Everyone pays attention when Eric sees that Mystique is looking at him. He continues, what can you deduce from our friend Idolan? He asks the more experienced mutant. Raven's is more than a century old. A shapeshifter, which means that she is a great actress and can read people easily. He is good. Very political, has a good oratory, knows what to say and how to say it. I don't know how much of what he talked about is true, but he looks genuine, and very likable. I think that is his purpose. She analyzes, making Magneto ponder for a moment before nodding his head. And she is right. Even Hector would nod at her words, if he heard it. Everyone likes a humble, down-to-earth celebrity. It's make them relatable and more likable. Hector knows this very well, so he went into these interviews with that in mind. Meta-human. Meta and human. If Hector showed his powers and heroic side as a meta to the world, now he is showing that he is human too with this interview. The only possible downside of his actions would be people seeing this as a weakness or being less scared of him. But is not a big deal. Anyone that underestimates him would be to a surprise. And he can equilibrate his reputation of being scary to the villains and nice to the good guys with time. Now Idolan, I have here a bunch of questions for you to answer. Let's start. Steve says, holding his cards. There are also questions that people are making on Twitter and the producers will give them to me later. And we will allow the audience to ask too. Okay. No problem. By the way, you became surprised again, so. Idolan extends his hand. A hero extorting money from an old man like me. Steve grumbles while giving the $10 bills. Hey, a deal is a deal. Okay, let's start. How is your fight with Thor? Who is really the strongest one of the heroes? I'm sorry, but we, mere mortals, can't tell the difference. The host jokes. Idolan laughs a little. Well, is natural. Saying who is stronger is hard. Fighting is not that simple. People with weak attributes can still win against someone stronger if the compatibility allows it. Is like a game of rock paper scissors. An example, the Hulk can be defeated by that Omega telepath that I talked early. His mind is very unstable and prone to be a weak spot. Idolan says, I see. And how is fighting with a god? Well, my fight with Thor is very balanced. Half of the time I'm beating Thor, and in the other half Thor is being beaten by me. Idolan finishes with a wit look. Ha ha ha. Steve and the audience laughs. That is some confidence. Kitty, damn. Steve Rogers, damn. Natasha, damn. The Thing, damn. I like this one. He he he. What is your favorite Avenger? Steve asks. My favorite Avenger would be Captain America. He inspired me a little, you know, but my favorite hero is Spider-Man. Idolan says Spider-Man. Yes, I admire very much what he does, and I think is unfair all the hate that he get. He is just like me, a guy trying to do the right thing. On Peter's house. Look, Peter, you're Idolan's favorite hero. Ned exclaims, slapping his friend's shoulder. I'm seeing. Chill, dude, is not a big deal. He says, but a smile keeps increasing on the edge of his mouth. The two look at each other and yeah, and then start punching each other lightly because FO the hype. But I have another person that I admire that is not a superhero, only a hero. Idolan adds, talk about him. Desmond Doss. Idolan says, but there's no reaction from the host. Of the audience don't know about him, huh? As expected. There's no need for me to tell you anything, just search for it. His story can do a good movie. Heh. Idolan laughs. That's a name that I haven't heard from a long time. Wolverine's gruff voice says, on the room of the X-Men mansion. Did you know this guy? Jubilee asks, surprised. Yeah, I hear about him while I was in Japan in the World War II, a little before one was hit by the nuke. Apparently, this guy saved a bunch of lives. How? Being a crazy ass motherfucker. That is how he did it. Haha. Logan? Language. Ororo admonishes the guy, don't want to kill anyone, and he went to war without any weapons and went out on the battlefield rescuing and carrying people. Crazy bastard. He comments. After this, a bunch of questions are asked in succession. Questions that would be asked to any celebrity. Favorite food? Anything. Favorite drink? Water. You don't drink alcohol? Idolan. Steve asks curiously. No. Alcohol has no effect on me. I prefer water or some juice. I don't smoke either. Good example. Would you ever drink? Well, if Thor asked, how can you say no to a Viking god? Haha. I would be polite and drink a little. Haha. True. Favorite song? Anything, but I'm really liking to listen to Mr. Blue Sky lately. Do you have a hobby? Reading, learning and training with my powers. Favorite movie? Star Wars franchise. What is your age? Younger than Captain America. That does not really give us something to work with, but okay. Favorite color? Black and white. Favorite thing? Solitude. Did you hate something? Bullies. People that abuse whatever power they have to bully others. To be more specific. Favorite subject in school? I mean, did you ever go to school? Science. Yes. What is your sign? Don't look at me like that. I'm not the one that wrote these questions. Nine-headed cosmic dragon. This is not a real sign. None is. True. Biggest fear. Fail in something truly important. Red or green? Steve lowers his cards and looks at Idolan with a raised eyebrow and a smirk. Green. Idolan says to cheers and laughs from the audience. Things continue like that. Sometimes Idolan disappears to solve some crisis. Sometimes Steve has to pay him $10. But the interview continue without problem, was very interesting and lasting longer than expected. Idolan knows how to keep people attention on him. Some more controversial themes are touched too. What do you think about abortion? Is okay before the 4th week, there's no soul at a time. After that is a no. Idolan gives an unexpected and concise answer. Really? Souls? Steve asks with a surprised face. How many times I said really tonight? Yes, souls. I don't know why are you so surprised if magic is real. And 24 times Idolan answers. Calmly, I think you just solved the whole question. Can you explain more? Okay. First, I'm pro-life. I believe that everyone has great potential, even a fetus. But I know of some special circumstances like rape, a fetus that won't survive being born, and other cases. Before the 4th week, the fetus is only a mass of organic matter. There's no soul on it. I can testify for that. You can. Yeah. Do you want to try? What? You know that I have super senses. The 5 normal and many other senses. I can share my vision with you. Idolan says. Really? 25 yes. Is dangerous. Don't worry, I will tone down to not make you a vegetable. He stares at Idolan. What? Information overload. I talked about our bodies not being completely ready for powers. Relax. Trust me. I know what I'm doing. Okay. Idolan touches his shoulder. Is unnecessary, but he did it all the same. Steve's eyes changes to the all-seeing eyes of God. Is one of the abilities of the eyes. It's possible to share the user visual capabilities with someone. Wow. He says, surprised, and starts to look around. Wow. He repeats. Idolan just let him enjoy the moments. These colors. Humans can only truly see 3 channels of colors: blue, green and red. The mantis shrimp, as an example, can see 12. My vision is even better. You're seeing the world as how he really is. Idolan says. Wow. Is the only thing that can be mouthed by Steve. After this, Idolan touches his shoulder again. Let me regulate for you a little. He says. Wait, now I can't see anything. Too much of something is not always good. There's a reason that our vision is limited. This is how I see the world if I do not concentrate. Super senses are truly problematic. Idolan says. Is like I'm a very trippy LSD overdose. Steve jokes. Haha. Let me adjust to you again. After this, Idolan shows off a little to Steve Harvey. Just enough to amaze Theman. After Idolan makes Steve's eyes go back to normal and heals him a little, the experience made him a little groggy. Steve talks about this to the audience. Is amazing people. I can't even describe. I could see things to the minimum details, airflow, and other things. Some colors on the air. Is that? He turns up to Idolan. There's many types of energy on the world. People exude them too. By the way, you haven't noticed, huh? Idolan gives him a side glance. Nothing important for now. Is the only thing Idolan said. Here another $10. This time was worth it. Steve says, making Idolan laughs after taking the money. There's a time when is allowed to the audience in the studio to ask questions to Idolan. There are some stupids, things that he already explained, and some goods too. At some point, a guy asked this. Idolan, as a hero, I believe that you want to save the most number of persons possible. Didn't you think that working together with the police and government would increase your efficiency? Why are you so resistant about this? This is an interesting question. Idolan says. So are you saying that I should work under the American government? He speaks evenly. Would not be a bad idea. You even joked before how you do hero work for free with Steve. You could even receive a salary. The man jokes and Idolan laughs, but if someone knows him would notice that he don't find it funny. Well, makes sense. This could even make the American people more comfortable with my presence, right? The hero asks. Yeah, the guy excitedly replies. Very good, very good. But if I say to you that I'm not American, Idolan reveals and waits for the reaction. As expected, the smile fo the guy disappears instantly. I don't know why people take me as a American. So, my good man, would you be comfortable if I go to the president of my country and salute him as a soldier and say that I'm going to follow all of his orders? Are you gonna sleep well? Comfortable? Idolan asks, giving a look while inclines in himself para a frente. I guessed so. Idolan lays back again. I'm neutral. And I think is for the better to everyone that I remain like that. He says, end this discussion. Idolan, what is yours hardest power to control? Steve asks. Without doubt the animal morphing one. Idolan answers without hesitation. The animal morphing? Can you turn into animals? Yep. Is the hardest. Their problems with the changes of senses, instinctus. Idolan says while morphing his hand in tentacles and then in a humanoid lizard claw. But I work hard and became very good in control it. I can now even make partial transformations like this. He do some tricks and even makes dog ears appear above his head. In the X-Mansion, Kitty, stay with us. Be strong, my friend. Jubilee exclaims to her unresponsive friend he can make animal ears. She murmurs he is like the perfecto husbando. Ugh, I can't. She clenches her chest. After some more questions, Steve finds himself comfortable enough to ask more personal things. Idolan. I received a question from the public at home. He says slowly, go on. The question is, He pauses, he can't. Go on, oh God. He takes a deep breath and continues, can the powers of Idolan affect every path of his anatomy? He pauses and looks with a disapproval look to the world. Idolan cover his eyes and sigh, thinking if the world is even worth of saving at this point. Don't make that face. You're the one extending and changing your body left and right. The people are curious. Sigh. The maximum answer that I can give is this one. Idolan says and raises his right arm. He gesticulates to people to pay attention from the elbow and upward. And then he enlarges his arm, making it longer and thicker. He makes the things vibrate, spins like a drill, and even multiply itself in two. Okay, that is enough. Steve exclaims desperately while the audience go crazy. Oh my, what I have done. The R34 artists. Idolan murmurs to himself. Steve wipes a non-existent sweat on his forehead and bald head. Dude, please. Steve says, laughing, you're setting the bar too high. Stop it. How can we normal men live? He jokes, making Idolan laugh. Serious, Susan, stop biting your lip. Johnny exclaims, I'm not. She shouts a little too fast. Ben Grimm and Alicia only laugh at the sibling antics. In the X-Mansion. So we will just wisely don't comment, right? Speak is the one to break the silence. Yeah, let's keep quiet. Kitty surprisingly agree. I want him to fold me like a pretzel, and Page starts stop, but is interrupted by the rest. At Hector's residence, the girls are also watching his interview. Shago is breathing a little heavily now. You know, Helena starts what you talked about before about sister wives again. Helena jokes, looking at Shago. She receives a pillow on the face, making her laugh harder. Isabella can only shake her head and sigh. Back to the studio. Hugh, let's talk with someone at home. Steve says, trying to change the subject. Okay, we have someone on the phone? Yeah, put him on the line. The host says to his ear device. People at home will too be allowed to ask Idolan things. The person on the line is a man, but different from what is expected. He doesn't come to ask a question to Idolan, but he comes seeking advice, some counsel. The guy tells his story. And it's like that. He was gonna marry his girlfriend. They are together 4 years. His fiancée goes to her bachelorette party. Till now is okay, but she forget her laptop at home, and was unlocked and with the girls' group exposed. When his curiosity takes the better of him, the man goes to see the group and he sees a bunch of pictures and videos of the bachelorette party that was still happening. There he saw his fiancée making out with 2 male strippers, probably going to a room alone with them while her friends cheered. The man tell how devastated he was at the moment. He saved the videos and pictures, sent a message to her ex-fiancé saying that everything is over and the why, and he ignored everything and everyone for a few days. I don't know what to do, Idolan. My mind is going to dark places. I'm afraid of doing something that I regret. He confesses to the now much more serious Idolan. Idolan takes a deep breath. Damn, this hurts me more than the Mjolnir, seriously. He starts and receives a nod from Steve. Betrayal is the worst thing that someone can receive, and the worst thing to do too. True. Is never coming from your enemies, and because of this that hurts so much. The host says, first of all, my brother. Did you talk with ex-fiancé after that? What happened? Idolan asks. The man on the line answers, she tried to reach me many times. I avoided it initially, but then I decided to listen to what she has to say, so we made a video call. She was with her friends. She assured me that was nothing. She and her friends deleted everything from the group after my message. When I said that I have saved everything, she apologized and said that was just a kiss. Means nothing. The man pauses and takes a breath before continuing. She said that the video where she goes to the room with 2 guys was just a joke. Nothing happened. I just listened to her, and after she said everything I shut down the call. Idolan listens to everything. First of all, my man, I need to tell you something. Something that you need to keep with you. Are you listening to me? Yes. Idolan then said pausedly and strongly, you're not wrong. This is the first thing that you have to put in mind. You handled it perfectly well. Perfect. I need to praise you for that. You kept your calm even if you have all the right in the world to rage. That was the right decision. In these types of decisions, these women tend to invert things. They blame you for invading her privacy. If you scream, she would act fragile and wronged. Yet, at some point she asked if I was always checking her things. If I don't trust her. The cheated man said, typical. If you want my counsel, just walk away from her. Take some time for yourself. Try new things. Or old things. As in a relationship, I bet that you sacrificed some hobbies or activities that you liked to stay with your ex. Try to do it again. I loved hiking, but I stopped because of her. There. You can do it now. Is not the end of the world, my friend. Idolan says, I need to say, while you're telling your story, I heard some people bursting in giggles about your ex-fiancé cheating on you. Idolan froze and looks around. I want to ask, what is so funny about that? He is the victim. Why are you laughing and shaming him? The one that should be shamed is the woman. Idolan looks slightly angry for the first time in this interview. Double standards, huh? If a man cheats, he is scum. If the woman cheats, the man is the joke. He says. Idolan continues, he is not good in bed, he is not providing, he is not giving her attention. Go for it, queen, you deserve better. He mocks. Let me ask you, my friend on the phone. You said that her friends are in the video call giving her support. Did you talk about this with someone else? Yes. And someone came to give you support? Idolan asks, already knowing the answer. No. No. That's the reality. Idolan shrugs his shoulders. He is the one suffering in silence and they're cuddling her, the cheater. Idolan pause before continuing. My friend, I can say another thing to you. Under no circumstances, accept her back. For nothing in the world. Don't matter her arguments, pressure of you family and friends, nothing. I will convince you now. Freeubnovel.cm. Idolan points at the Chimera and asks, do you think if you haven't discovered her dalliances she would come to confess to you her act? Or do you think she would let the marriage happen and go on with her life without a shred of guilty? I don't know. You know the answer. Rewatch the video. Even if it's painful, she is embarrassed or she is laughing with her friends. She is not guilty about cheating on you, my friend. She is upset that she gets caught. I'm sorry, man. Idolan spoke more softly. You ask for my counsel and I will give it to you. You probably still love her. It's okay. But certain things you can't just erase. Let's say that you forgive her. You will live all of your life remembering it. Worried. Suspicious. Do you think that you will still be happy? It sucks that you have to suffer for her mistake. But I repeat. He pauses to emphasize what he will say. You did nothing wrong. You have the moral high ground in this situation. Take some time to heal. As long you want. And my man. Idolan call yes. Maybe this is a one-time mistake on her part. Maybe she is really feeling super guilty. Maybe she will never repeat it. Maybe she loves you more than anything. Idolan looks directly at the camera and already prepares the guy for whatever the woman in question would say in the future, but still, don't take her back. There are good women out there that even if 10,000 friends influenced her, even if Thor himself appeared to make her the queen of Asgard, there are women out there who would never cheat on you. So why are you gonna accept less? Idolan's speech makes the people applaud crazily again. After some more words and good wishes, the call ends and Idolan and Steve goes back to talk. This annoys me, you know. Idolan confesses after some time cheating women. Steve asks, no. This whole thing always remembers me of how much men's mental health is overlooked by society. Men's life is hard too and no one care. More suicides, more victims of violence, more homeless, and the list go on. In the USA, I would think that the country that birthed Captain America would take care of the veterans, but I need to say more. Idolan speaks. In an apartment on Washington is really that bad with the veterans? Steve Rogers asks himself with a frown. Even if is adapting slowly, a big part of him still refuses to integrate himself into this new society. So is no surprise Todd is desatualizado de muchas coisas, precisamente certos problemas mais atuais. I will call Fury later and ask. He says. Before focusing on the TV again. I will give counsel to the boys. Idolan says, straightening himself on the chair. I'm Idolan, and I speak hard truths. Men around the world. No one care about you. The early you accept this fact, the better. He speaks frankly. Obvious there are exceptions. Mother, father. But you will never be coddled. Steve, if a man is down and sad about something, and doesn't want to do something, what is told to him? Idolan turns to the host. Man up? He answers, man up. That's the only thing that you will receive. I read some texts on the newspapers on the past about me and my take on women. The text, written by a woman, said that I'm a secretly misogynist for beating up without mercy Amora. Idolan raises his hands in confusion. This is one of the things that I plan to ask later. Steve adds, I can talk about this now. I'm an advocate of true gender equality. I treat everyone equally independent of gender, race, sexual orientation, religion, or nationality. The Eon Idolan is how my fists are rated, to everyone. He jokes a little. Always annoys me people that demand respect without merit or anything worth for. Do you think that I will treat you better only because of your second chromosome X? No chance. But this is how things are. Women and child first. The only ones that are loved unconditionally are women, children, and pets. You, man, is loved by how much you can provide, how much is your worth. And because of this, I say, focus and take care of yourself. Stop treating women that don't deserve like queens, like your first priority. Don't simp do things to yourself, because no one else will do it. Learn to live in solitude. Be alone doesn't mean being unhappy. I myself love solitude. Sometimes I fly to space and just stay there alone with my thoughts. When you learn to be alone and be happy with yourself alone, nothing can stop you, my friend. That's an underrated counsel. Very good. Steve comments. After this little red pill moment, the interview continues. Is not like Idolan wants to be the Gatcha of this timeline, even if would be funny. But in his other life, he has seen some examples of how a man can be completely destroyed mentally by bad relationships. Will Smith and Johnny Depp are only of the most famous examples. If a 2-minute counsel can save some fellow men from depression or worse, worth it. And yes, is funny to be seen as an advocate of true gender equality. Idolan, I will ask you now about your fellow heroes and supers. Let's play a game. Go on. Idolan looks at him suspiciously. Relax, I will just say the name of the person and you need to say in a few words what you think about them. Steve says, Captain America. I already said. He is a great inspiration. Good. Hawkeye. Admire his bravery. Black Widow. Steve looks at him to see Idolan's reaction, but he doesn't fall into any trap. Admire her bravery. He almost repeats himself. The same, The Hulk. I pity Bruce Banner. Don't deserve having this hard life. About the Hulk, a surprisingly trustworthy fight companion. Diferenciando Bruce Banner do Hulk. Obviously, they're two different people. I see. Iron Man. Great potential for good. Is on the right path. I hope that he don't think that no best than everyone and step out of the line. Damn, that is suspiciously specific, Steve says, but Idolan shrugs his shoulders and don't elaborate. Giant and the Wasp. Idolan holds back to not say abuser and victim. No opinion. Idolan says, okay. Mr. Fantastic. High intelligence, low wisdom. Damn, is that a roast? I don't know. Invisible Woman. She looks nice. Human Torch. Overeager. The Thing. Similar to Banner, looks like a chill dude. Thor. We could probably be good friends in the future. Lady Jade. A good companion. Only a companion? Steve asks slyly. Idolan doesn't comment. Huntress. A good confidant. Confidant is differente from companion, His smile widens a little. Gigantomachia. A loyal subordinate. Interesting. Not so interesting. With the exception of my group, is not like I know the rest too much. We literally first met during the invasion. Sorry. Don't apologize, is interesting enough. Now some question of the public about them. Oh. Idolan says, looking suspiciously at the cards in Steve's hand. Oh, indeed. Idolan, which one of the female supers would you choose to marry? Is on the card. Steve shrugs his shoulders but doesn't look sorry at all. Idolan sighs. I repeat, I don't know them enough. Just say a name. You just want me to say any name to the public to ship us and blow our relationship out of proportion. Idolan reveals. Exactly. He admits without shame. Gossip is the bread of the TC. Idolan. TCH. Let me think. Idolan puts his hand on his chin. I really don't know. Yeah. Skip it. Idolan reclined on his chair. I'm already married to my job as a hero. He jokes, making the people laugh and dispersing the focus on the question. Okay, let's continue. After a bunch of nonsensical questions that would better fit asked to a normal celebrity, Idolan humors them for some time till he is asked something more interesting. Who do you think is the most dangerous person in the world? The host asks, and Idolan doesn't even hesitate. Victor Von Doom. The answer surprised everyone. People thought that Idolan would say the Hulk or himself. But surprisingly he said an almost forgotten villain. In Latveria, in the bedroom of Dr. Doom, the man himself narrowed his eyes hearing Idolan mentioning him. Petty tricks. But it appears that he at least has some wits. He says under his breath, but Doom will prevail nonetheless. Back at Hector's residence, the girls discussed among themselves. Isn't this a little counterproductive? Making an enemy of the guy without any reason. Shago asks leisurely on the couch, not caring much. She trusts Hector nonetheless. Isabella is the one that answers with a thoughtful expression. No, this is smart. Master Hector said that the most annoying and dangerous enemies are the smart ones that have time to prepare. With one sentence he put Doom in the spotlight. If Idolan said he is dangerous, the world will believe in it. Helena comments, I remember Hector saying how annoying that immortal old magic users must be to kill. They must have a ton of contingencies. Shago adds, yes. Master Hector probably already believes that the confrontation with him is inevitable, so is not a problem to make an enemy of Doom. He is bringing Doom to light and making him be taken seriously by the world. This can limit his actions, or even better, make enemies of Master Hector seek Doom to deal with him, and sometimes this can disrupt Doom's plans. Adding too many foreign factors create flaws. There's more advantaged than disadvantages. Isabella analyze, sometimes I forgot that you're super smart. Shago says, by the way, what is the difference between a confidant and a companion? Isabella can only shake her head. Idolan continues, talked about many themes, some silly and other more serious. He gave his thoughts, input, and opened the eyes of the public. At a certain moment the live audience asked Idolan another more or less relevant question. The many supers have in general incredible bodies. You don't think that this will create an impossible standard to the people, in special the children? A slightly overweight woman asked, this is interesting to talk about. Let's go. Idolan raises from his chair and show his body. He receives some screams from the women again. Let me start saying, this body of mine is not something that is easy to acquire to the average Joe, that has to work 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. He says, gesticulating to his great physique. But I would encourage everyone to try. Idolan says with finality, seeking a healthy body must be something that everyone must do. Even if you can't be like or the other heroes. Being the best physical version of yourself can only bring benefits. Idolan sits down and turns to Steve. Steve, do you know, from all my capabilities, what is my favorite? He asks. I don't know. Fly? Be bulletproof. Steve guesses, laughing, haha. Those are great, but nothing beats the simple capability of having a peak condition body. I'm not even saying superhuman body, just in peak condition. My body moving in the way that I want. Idolan says, he continues, is the best feeling ever. My body jumps when I want to jump. I can squat and run. Idolan interrupts himself and looks around. What? Is not that impressive? He raises his palms to the ceiling in questioning. Maybe is not that impressive, but there are people that can't even do that. They can't even run for 10 seconds without puke. They take too long to rise from their knees, can't jump 10 centimeters high, they can't even get out of the bed. My lady, this question of yours is probably a bait to talk about fat shaming or whatever, and make me look bad. I don't care for what anyone thinks, so I will say, your body is your greatest and most prized possession. Take care of it. Idolan advises, and many people applaud. I will be the last person that will body shame someone. I'm part of the meta community. He shrugs his shoulders, but being too obese to the point where makes your life hard? I disapprove. This is another good advice, Idolan. What did you think of my physique? Steve jokes, showing off his prominent belly hat. You're old and have little time to work out, is okay, but could be better. I'm not saying to everyone to have a six-pack and be shredded. Some people's body types are a little chubby anyway, but you need to be good enough, at least run a little. Remembering that this is a dangerous world. You never know when you will have to run. All that jokes about fat people dying first in the apocalypse have a little of truth now, don't you agree? Idolan lights the mood. There's also the huge percentage of obese people in America. We are already an international joke. Steve comments, but why do heroes always in great shape? Steve asks, well, you can see us as athletes. We train our bodies to use our powers well. Captain America, well, you guys know he is not natural. Idolan jokes, I can talk about myself. Remember when I say that my body was destroyed when I awakened? Yes. So if my body is not strong enough, I would probably explode from my own power. Very common occurrence with other metas. Damn. You know, Idolan, there's a thing that you became famous for. Steve starts after another set of questions. Here you go. Idolan looks at him suspiciously again. Ha ha ha. Relax, I'm talking about the Idolan's glare. At this moment many people shouts in agreement. Is scary, as the criminals say. I don't know. Is just my professional face, I think. Idolan says, can you show us? Say to the camera right there. Steve points. Haha. Is not like that. Will not work if I don't mean it. Idolan jokes, can I say something to the villains of the world then? He asks, you can do anything. Okay. Idolan then turns to the camera, to all of you, that is right now in an underground facility, a space station, a castle, or in a huge and fancy building. He gives a dark chuckle before going serious. I know about you, and I will find you the moment that you put your head out of your nest. I want you all to understand that this planet, this solar system is small to me, and you're trapped here with me. Idolan looks at the camera without blinking. The whole world unconsciously holds its breath. Damn, I got goosebumps, and you're not even talking to me. Steve jokes to light the mood. I pity your children, Idolan. Haha. Even Idolan laughs. Do you have children, Idolan? Nope. He answers, do you intend to have? Well, maybe. If I found the right person. He answers, is a huge responsibility. I don't see myself with children while I wear my mantle. I need to focus. Build a better world for our children in the future. Fight so they don't need. He confesses his thoughts. I understand very well. I think you will be a good father, Idolan. Steve says sincerely, thanks, I appreciate it. Still in this topic, Idolan. I know that you talked about don't want kids for now, but everyone thought about this in their life, so how many children do you pretend to have? And should we be worried about dozens of mini Idolans frying around? Steve jokes, haha. Your question unknowingly brings an interesting topic. Idolan comments mysteriously, I will talk about it later. But answering your immediate question, I don't care how many children I will have. 1, 2 or 20. What comes, came. 20? Damn. Steve acts surprised and laughs. And you would prefer a boy or a girl, Idolan? No preference either, but I think everyone in the world would like a kid of the same gender. He says, and receives nods from Steve and the audience to bond more easily, teach things. I understand completely. Ha. Ha ha ha. Then the host starts laughing. I just thought about. Hee. I was worried for you children before, but I must pity is your future daughter's boyfriends. He jokes, makes people laugh with the mental image. Idolan just shakes his head. Seriously, what are you talking about, man? Do you think I will be some sort overprotective doting father? Tisk tisk. I will have no problem with my daughter's boyfriends. They would just need to fight me. Idolan says seriously. Ha ha ha. Steve laughs to death. Idolan completes with his eyes blinking red. And this only makes the people laugh hard. They can have my daughters after they take them from my cold dead hands. Idolan jokes. Ha ha ha. You're scarier now than when you threatened the villains before. Even Idolan can't suppress it anymore and starts laughing slightly. In the X-Mansion. Ha. Cute. Jean comments, cute? The guy promised a gruesome death to a future unfortunate soul and he is cute. Warren asks, exaggeratedly hot guys can get away with anything. Really? Speak shakes his disapprovingly, yes, they can. Paige says without shame. Idolan is just kidding. I think. Rogue defends, unsure. An, hello there, I hope you enjoyed the chapter. Now, taking advantage of this second part author's notes, let's talk about another important thing. The future progression of this story. As much Gatcha is a random thing, I already make it clear that the MC would always gain something about in the range of his power level, so his progression of strength doesn't jump suddenly by too much. I'm holding back in him gaining super strong characters like Superman? Yes. I have planned many arcs that will be better if he is not that strong. I mean, he can probably one-shot most of the threats, but you catch my meaning. Like vampires and Monster City, Trask, Mojo World, many movies sagas, Limbo. I have a plan for the moment that he will finally become cosmic and make a space adventure arc. Then Guardians of the Galaxy and others. Did I plan a space arc just to him to meet Lady Hellbender? You can't prove it. And I will deny it forever. After he finally goes cosmic, the MC wouldn't care too much about this street level stuff. His summons will take care of it. So yeah, the story will have a great divisor when he finally starts to gain super strong people. I have so many things planned that if had the power to simply transfer what is in my brain without the need to write, at least 100 chapters would pop out. Now about the MC's own progression beyond powers. We all know that his morals are a little wacky. But I just warning you guys that he will mature and be more chill in the future. Even Kinder. Is he a true hero now? No. You can draw a certain opposite parallel between Hector with Midoriya. While Midoriya is a natural hero with a heart of gold, but powerless and with many glaring issues, Hector is super powerful but without the heart of a hero. Opposite starting points to the same finish line. I like Kratos's storyline of going from a rage, edgy monster to a wise and chill old man. You can say that I envision the MC trajectory more or less like that. I would like to talk about relationships, something that will be more present from now on, but I let this part to the author notes of the third, and last, part of the interview. Bye. Till next time. Chapter 47, Extra, the interview. 3. Disclaimer. I own nothing. This story has no interest in offending any party, having the sole objective of only entertaining the readers. Enjoy. His name was Jason, and today is his birthday. Friday the 13th, the movie. I have something important to tell you all. A warning: this chapter contains idolan talking about gender, and seeing how many of you are offended when he talked about real-world issues. He is the warning. You know, you guys would be right if is another setting. I would not bring social politic issues in a Pokemon fanfic. But this is Marvel. Marvel itself talks about this issue. Ignore it all. Sound a little wrong maybe. I don't plan to talk about it in a normal chapter, but well, this is an extra. Well, I can also predict people that will think that I'm a misogynist or something because the things said here. But just to your information, is not everyone that cares about men's right an Andrew Tate fan. I don't even care about the guy beyond his GTAP.O.V memes. You guys must know the documentary The Red Pill of a woman feminist that discovered that men also deserve rights. Oh, the surprise. So, why I'm giving importance to this issue? 2 reasons. The first is more light. During my vacation I was forced to watch She-Hulk. Yeah. So I thought I will watch without bias. Let's see how this goes. Maybe I can use something in my fanfic. And was bad as people claimed. But my biggest issue with that thing is not the twerking, or the not funny jokes, or the horrible CGI. Is the portrait of men. All men are either violent, dumb, perverts, or all of it at the same time. Even the Hulk, the calm and mature guy of the universe, becomes petty and childish. And I'm not even talking about her quote about heroes are for narcissists and orphans. Ugh. So I thought, this is bad. Syrup Sly Disney, give me 15 McChickens and I would write something better. But then came to the idea of idolan being the opposite of these characters that has been spoiled by this agenda against men. What is said below has no intention to attack women. Wait, some women read it? Whatever. The other reason touches a little close to home. I know a guy, a friend of a friend. He was a funny guy. If you want to be mean, he is the clown of the group. If want to be nice, he is comic relief. He was always happy, being nice with people, making jokes and including even then most shy ones, like me, in the conversation. And then he was accused of harassment. Bam. His life is over. He received death threats, lost his job. Even after being proven that he is innocent, the stigma remained. The guy nowadays is a shell of his former self. He doesn't interact with strangers, rarely says something and even gets out of his home. And the woman that falsely accused him, nothing happened to her. Even to this day people still think that he is guilty, that his family bribed the woman to buy her silence and to remove the accusations. As a man, there's no way that I won't feel empathy for this guy, because this can happen with anyone at any moment. How do you defend yourself against it? Carrying a camera with you all the time is hard. Whatever, read the chapter and say what you think. I hope that can help some of you. You talked before about my possible future children being mini idolan, Steve. The interesting topic that I meant is my worry and how to treat kid metas or recently awakened metas with low age. Idolan starts by the way, what is the normal age that someone awakens their powers? Sorry to interrupt. Steve asks no problem. In the case of natural metas, term that I'm still not sure that I will make official, or mutants, is common to awaken their powers during puberty, pre-adolescence, between 8 and 13 years old. Obviously can happen earlier or more late in their lives, especially if some external factor is involved. Idolan explains when did you awaken yours, Idolan? With 6 years old. The hero says evenly really? And how was it? Did you go to school? What your parents' thoughts? Sorry if I'm asking something too personal. Steve's asks surprised before calming down a little, remembering of. Idolan's parents relax. Was normal. I went to school normally, lived normally. Well, in the limits of what was possible. Just normally. What? Haha. Do you think I used my powers to stomp the other schools in sports? Be popular? Haha. That would be unfair, just average school life. Idolan laughs. In truth, I was bullied in school. Idolan reveals holding a smirk. Steve's mouth falls. You have been bullied? You. Yep. Heh. And you did nothing. Do what? Fight back? Break their arms and legs? Throw them in the sun? I just avoided conflict. But you never get angry. I was never the type of getting angry easily, so no. And I never suffered nothing too heavy either. But this is another example that you shouldn't be a jerk to other people. Idolan points at the camera. If I was a little more immature. You all get my meaning. Yes, will do. Now you are talking early about the awakenings and Steve goes to bring back the topic. Yes, I was saying that normally the awakenings happens at early age. By the way, maybe I neglected in my explanation about metas to talk about the awakenings. Idolan thinks a little before continuing. Just from you all to know, beyond what is obvious and what I talked before, is possible to happen a double awakening. A double. Yes. A reawakening that can upgrade your powers qualitatively or quantitatively. It's rare, but it happens. How? And why? Steve asks. Sometimes people awakening too early or artificially, so they're not ready. So a future double awakening can normalize the thing, instead of the power growing progressively. Artificial means can also influence. Like, if a meta be affected by that cosmic radiation that gave powers to the Fantastic Four. 50% chance of a double awakening and 50% of dying. Idolan shrugs his shoulders. Sometimes the second awakening can give a totally different ability to. Yes, like awaken the power from metagenealogic tree of the father when the child inherited only from the mother till now. Idolan explains. Now, back to the main topic. Kids with powers. Idolan reclines himself on his chair and starts. One of my biggest concerns is this, you know? Awakenings are very arbitrary and can happen with anyone with the metagene. And if a destructive power is put to death with the immaturity and clumsiness of a kid, the consequences could be catastrophic. I'm not blind to this, and can understand all of your worries about children of mine with an absurd level of power. At this moment Steve interrupts Idolan, sorry. My question was not mean to offend you. I just asked for asking. But this time Idolan raises his hand to stop him. It's okay, Steve. Is a genuine concern. For my part, I will do my best to properly educate my children about the responsibilities of holding superpowers. But this would be the exception of the rule, right? Again, I know that many people are simply scared that one day they will receive the news that their kids has been hurt in the school because a kid meta awakened their powers and he/she can't control it. Imagine that a 10-year-old kid one day simply awaken his powers that makes his arms like flamethrowers, and he can't turn it off. Idolan speaks darkly. It hasn't happened, but is a possibility. Andy's okay to be worried. From my part I can guarantee that I'm very alert about this situation and I can act very fast to avoid some tragedy. Idolan affirms with determination. I hope that you all understand that the kid would be as scared of any of his friends that could be hurt. Can you imagine how must be? The fear, helplessness, guilty. Just a child. Idolan sighed darkly, but he suddenly says a little more in God's spirits. I already started working in a solution. He raised his index finger. Really? And can you tell us? Or is one of these things that is better as a secret? Steve asks. Well, the hero thinks a little. There's no problem in telling. I have a side project. I'm working in a serum. Idolan says, getting closer of the host a serum? Like the super soldier serum. Something like that. But better. Idolan affirms better? How? What is the most glaring issue of the EMTAs that I talked in this interview? The hero asks. Steve straightens up to think, you talked a lot? There's the whole conspiracy thing. But are you talking about how many metas suffers from their powers? He guess exactly. I said that this is a problem for bodies not be ready. But can't we make our bodies be ready without the need to wait generation and generations? We can improve our bodies. We already have a good example living and fresh out the ice. Captain America? His serum can help the metas. Not it alone, but I only use the overall idea. You must know that many enhanceds of the present used serums based on the original formula of Dr. Erskine, and then came the idea of creating the E-serum or meta-serum if you prefer, and his serum would make your guys more resistant. Yes, and much more. First of all, the serum would make the body to it peak adapted form to the correspondent power or a standard peak condition. Would help with control, allowing the EMTA to turn on/off the power and even reseating the appearance to it pre-awakening when the meta wants. Idolan says to Steve, raised eyebrows of surprise and talking about kids. He continues, I'm trying to make taught the serial would pass to the descendants and forceful awaken the child power at the age of 4 or 5 years old. Idolan punctuates. Wait. And this would be good? I'm confused. Steve, most of powers are like muscles. You train them, they grow stronger. They can atrophy if you don't use. So what would happen if a child in development discover his dormant muscle? When is still weak? Idolan asks, the power would be more or less inoffensive. The host deduces and start to ponder about the implications. Yes. Not only the standard age would smooth our work and prepare to any accidentes, the power would be much weaker and the kid could grow together with it. Getting used to it, and the body would adapt better too. Idolan exclaims, happy with himself. Kitty Pride POV, damn, that's nice. I hear the host comment on the TV. And yes, it is. Looking around I can see the eyes of everyone shining a little. Rogue's the most. She is not even blinking while looking at the TV. This would be revolutionary. I hear Dr. McSci comments, in truth, I'm disappointed with myself from not thinking about it. Even the super soldier serum that can bring a human being to their peak condition would help many mutants in coping with their powers much better. But how he will make it influence the power, he gumbles to himself, is possible. Scott asks, in theory, yes. But even if someone becomes a super soldier doesn't mean that the power would be affected. His claims of control of powers and appearances looks a little far-fetched. The doctor answers, is not that easy to manipulate our powers. I tried many things. The doctor gesticulates to his furry body. He really miss it. Have tried a lot, but Idolan wouldn't make a baseless affirmation. Jean comments that he knows something that I don't. Dr. McCoy says, and seeing that he knows so many things that are uncanny for me, one more wouldn't be a surprise. I'm looking forward for it. The doctor smiles, and when this miraculous things becomes available, the host asks Hal, joking, I'm still working on it. In some years, maybe. Idolan answers, you're the one making it. Steve asks, surprised, making Idolan looks at him frowning a little. Yeah. Why, you think I'm stupid? Seriously, what is my image on your heads? Idolan jokes and sighs, I don't know. I thought that you would have a team of scientists to work with in your organization while you save the world. The host shrugs, you all think Todd I'm some sort of brute, right? Idolan sighs exaggeratedly, not at all. You look very smart. You talked and explained well. Anyone can see it. But you don't look scientist smart. If you understand what I mean. Tisk, judging people by appearance. Tisk tisk. Idolan shakes his head in fake disappointment. Just to I wouldn't lose to these many geniuses in the intelligence department. He comments, and I remember how smart Rogue become at that time. Thinking faster, coming with solutions and answers instantly. Is this guy perfect? After some more banter, Steve asks something that I was curious to, but Idolan, there's no problem in you revealing about your project? There would not be people trying to steal it or disturb your plans? Oho, growing paranoid already. Nice, that is the way to go. Idolan raises an eyebrow, but relax, I have my means. And seriously, if more people try to create serums that can improve people's lives, much better. He continues, but I understand your concern. Normally people would use something like that as a weapon. But they already doing it anyway. They never stopped after the success with Captain America. talking about my plans change nothing. And they can't replicate what I'm doing. Is simply impossible. Idolan's comments make everyone perk up. Why is impossible? Luckily for us, the host asked. Why? They don't have the main ingredient. He says slowly, main ingredient? Main ingredient? I mean, sorry for ask, must be a secret. The Hazar correct himself, haha. Not at all. It doesn't matter if I tell. Idolan looks mysteriously at the host, waiting for him to guess. Maybe, Steve, I'm a Trump. Idolan points at himself and tilts his head. What he may it's him. His own metagene is the key. Gene exclaims, a super stable omega level Trump metagene. That can stabilize and improve all others. Maybe his power goes beyond simply copy, stealing or creating powers. Or maybe he goes around accumulating powers to make his body adapt first and then create some sort of immunity formula to distribute later. Or maybe, Dr. McCoy goes on, and about all possibilities of what Idolan is doing and how he does it. I'm not going into details, but let's say that I'm a little special. I can't say for certain, because everything happened very fast and I was so young. But I think that I have a double awakening. Like, awakening. Bam? Another one instantly. Damn, the guy surely is something else. Jubilee comments, must be a very traumatic experience. Gene says a little wistfully. To the BNHA world maybe. Third-person POV. After Idolan and Steve talk a little more about precautions needed to be taken and how the world is unprepared for them, the topic is changed again. So Idolan. Some more questions. Steve looks at his cards. Let's see. The host searched in his cards before asking, how do you do your hero work? Many people praise you for your efficiency. Well, I trained for that. Idolan answers easily. Trained. Yes. Must appear weird to say that. Like, trained where? There's a superhero school out there? Heh. But I trained myself. Well, I had some help, but is mostly myself. Idolan changes position a little on his chair and continues, I already talked about the difficulty in having powers. And I'm strong. Many nods at him, so to that I don't hurt anyone. I need training and control. Is easy for me to hurt people, even unintentionally. Look, Idolan points to his feet on the ground, raises his tiptoe a little, and taps on the ground casually. Bam bam bam. His little action makes everything shake. The force reverberates on the whole studio. Some things get out of place and even some people almost fell down. Sorry. Just illustrating it. He then points to his feet again and repeats the exact 3 taps. His feet moved exactly the same, but there was no strength behind them. See? Control. Idolan says humans are highly adaptable creatures. With time, someone who gained super strength could control himself to not crush everything he touches. But I have many powers, so I need to go beyond. I never neglected training. In truth, I still train every day. And that was half of the reason that I'm so efficient. He says then, I practiced with simulations, many and many times till it became easy. Simulations. Yeah, I didn't acquire my powers. Put my suit and went around saving lives. I trained and studied every possible situation to know what is the better response. If someone is going to be run over a truck, what is the best I can do? He asks and answers himself, take the people out of the way, but I'm close or far. If I go too fast, I will hurt them. He looks around and continues, should I stop the truck? But is the driver wearing a seat belt? The truck malfunctioned or the driver fell asleep. Can I stop the truck without damaging it? Should I stop the truck telekinetically? You see what I'm talking about? Idolan asks the host. Yes. And this example is the easy one. What if 2 people are in danger in different directions, far from each other? One is going to get stabbed and the other is falling from a building? Who I choose? What is the best decision to take? Milliseconds can be the difference between someone's life and death. I'm not playing the hero here, Steve. I see many people talking about how I'm an untrained, unaffiliated civilian and etc. He rolls his eyes. I can assure you that I am better prepared than most of the cops that carry guns around. And damn, some are really unprepared. Unfortunately is true. I trained and trained to think fast and act while thinking. I trained my powers to the limit so that I can use them the best. If my control is lacking, maybe I will need to hurt the criminal who is going to stab the person. If I was a little slower, maybe I couldn't reach the one falling. I think about these things much before these things even happen and I prepare myself. So the secret is my training beforehand. Simples as that? Idolan finishes. I see. No big secret at all, huh? Just like everyone else, practice making it perfect. The host says his piece. Yes, by the way, I will utilize the opportunity to say something that was in my mind for a time, since the invasion. Go on. Idolan looks at the Chimera and says seriously to all the people that has powers or will awaken them in the future. Listen to this, calm down. Idolan let his words sink in for a moment before continuing. Seeing some confused faces, he finally opens his mouth again. I can understand the effect that people like me or Captain America can have on people with powers. Some of you guys must be wanting to help, be a hero and all, but, I repeat, calm down. He says more pausedly. First you have to know yourself and your powers, seeing the range of it, the function, the destructive capabilities. You also need to think also about the many secret vile organizations that would, in the blink of an eye, kidnap and do whatever they want with you. He advises, look, I'm the last person that can preach about vigilantism being dangerous and all, but it is. I can't stop you if want to do it, but if you do it carefully. For you and for others. You could hurt others if you're not careful. He looks dead serious, and that would be on you. You could have the best of intentions, but if you enter in this life unprepared, you can mess it up. Mess up badly. He emphasizes. Start small, help people one at a time. Discreetly. Any help is welcome, my friend. But I repeat, if you mess up, you can't take it back. Sincerely, I encourage everyone to help people, even if just a little and in the limit of their capabilities. There's no need for powers to be a hero to someone, you know. He finishes. Idolan is remembering the events of civil wars in the comics. The last fuse of the whole problem is a bunch of youngsters filming some sort of program. Playing the hero. Ended up blowing up many kids because of their negligence and inexperience. That's a good thing to say, Idolan. I trust you. But it worries me if a bunch of teenagers with powers starts to run around irresponsibly. Steve says, not knowing that Idolan is a teenager himself. Yes, is one of my worries too. Is also my big criticism to my fellow heroes. Idolan says, shocking. Steve, a little. Is that so? Yeah. Well, hear me out. The Avengers are good, all, great even, but most of them are untrained and unprepared. Civilians, scientists before gaining powers or building their suits. Well, I can say also that no one was ready for a big alien invasion, and they did their best. Putting themselves at risk even when is not their responsibility. But there's a little of unnecessary collateral damage, he says. And many people nod their heads. Don't take me wrong, but I really hope that they are preparing themselves and thinking about way of improving. Is about people's lives that we are talking about. I know that they're extraordinary individuals, and because of this I believe that they can do much better. Idolan sugarcoats it, but he is basically saying, train and practice a little more. Bitches. This is not a game. Sometime later Steve asks Idolan about the universe. If Idolan has something to share about it. Well, talking about the universe is good. While many of the high UPS of the world think that is better to the population to be maintained in the dark about these topics, I think that there's no problem in knowing what is out there. Idolan says, and slowly turns his head to the side. To a woman of the production. Do you want to participate in this conversation? He says, gesticulating for the woman to get closer. The place goes silent for a while. The smarter ones start to catch up that something is wrong. The woman in question looks like a deer caught by a car headlight. You know that running is not gonna help you, right? Idolan says to her calmly. But apparently is useless because the woman turns and goes in a full sprint in the opposite direction, pushing people out of the way and distancing herself quickly. She looks very athletic and a master of parkour. Idolan doesn't even react to her fleeing. He shakes his head a little and blurs. What the he dash Steve starts saying. Overwhelmed by the whole situation, but before he can finish, Idolan comes back holding the woman by the head. Idolan just appears and is casually holding the woman like she is a puppy, his big palm enveloping her whole scalp. He nonchalantly throws her into the ground. I said that is useless. She tried to crawl away. She looks so helpless that invokes pity in the hearts of the more gentler souls. Idolan is having none of it. He steps on her right calf. Arg! Why are you doing this? Help me! Someone help me! He gonna kill me! She screams hysterically. Idolan expression doesn't change. Idolan Steve asks unsure. Relax, she is making a show. Sorry to purposefully startle you, but I just want to check something. He sighs while looking around. No one knows what he is thinking. Okay, you can stop your show now. Is annoying, he says to the woman. But she doesn't stop. Idolan rolls his eyes and sigh. He then goes to retrieve something from his utility belt, that is in truth only for show. He pulls a golden rope, that normally shouldn't have fit in the small pocket. Okay, as you wish. We will do it the hard way, he says and pulls the woman to her feet telekinetically and ties her with the lasso of truth. Strangely, the woman stops screaming that she is in pain and that Idolan is crazy. But right now, she looks extremely uncomfortable. Now, let me explain. He tightens the lasso on his hand, making it glow. Reveal your true face, he says, as more of a test. In truth, the lasso can do much more than simply make people incapable of telling lies. At some points in the DC Comics, Diana showed the capacity of seeing glimpses of the truth in the mind of the tied victims, transport her mind on whoever is tied by the lasso, and even invade people's souls. So, Hector is only a little surprised when the tied woman starts transforming herself into her normal Skrull form. So this thing is the natural enemy of all falsehood, not only lies. Idolan deduces this. Everyone is a living Skrull. I talked about them earlier, he says to the shocked audience. This is why I asked if you have noticed while you are using my eyes, Steve. I need to explain another thing. This is one of my weapons. The lasso of truth. Anyone tied by it will be compelled to only say the truth, he reveals, not caring about keeping the lasso's main capability a secret. The lasso of truth is one of these weapons that is better to be well known. Is not like it is one of Idolan's trump cards. The world knowing about it now can spare some time and prevent complications in the future. What is your name? Idolan asks while keeping her tied. Franna, she says without thinking before realizing that something is wrong and starting to struggle. So, planning an invasion, huh? Idolan talks like he is asking about the weather. The Skrull holds back for some seconds before answering. Why yes. The audience and whole world goes beyond shocked at this point. One thing is hearing, another is seeing. How long have you been here? Idolan asks calmly. The female Skrull continues to struggle but is useless. 40 years, more or less. Are you guys behind some of the hate that mutants receive? Yes. Ho. How many of you are here on this planet? I don't know. Compartmentalization, huh? Fair. Idolan shrugs his shoulders and asks other small things. And the world is finally seeing the hero Idolan very close. During the interview, Idolan's friendly attitude made people forget a little who this man is. A guy who takes his duty very seriously. There are no smiles or jokes. His posture and tone of voice make people unconsciously act respectfully at the moment, not even daring to breathe too loud. After the utter defeat of the female Skrull willpower, she can't take it anymore and decide to attack Idolan verbally. You think yourself too high and mighty? Hero of the earth. You're nothing. She spats while looking at him. There's no fluctuation in the hero's eyes. He just continues to look at her silently. Our great empire can end this mudball at any moment if we want. I refuse to believe that you can protect them, she says hatefully. Idolan chuckles a little, but there's no mirth in his voice. The fact that you're still tied by my lasso shows that you truly believe in it. But you guys need to be very unlucky to succeed in destroying this planet, he says with a mysterious look. Huh, Steve. Idolan out of nowhere turns to the host. What would you do if someone killed your family? He asks. I don't know, is the only answer that Steve, that is still shocked with the situation, can give exactly. I also don't know what I would do, he says, and then looks at the Skrull and goes even more serious. And isn't this scary? He pushes her on the ground with his foot and presses her chest. An empire that can govern an entire galaxy. I can't even imagine it. You guys have planet busters weapons, and maybe I really can't defend Earth if you guys go all out. But what I can't imagine is what I would do if your race is so unlucky to really succeed. Idolan's eyes start glowing red and the Skrull starts suffocating a little. A man without nothing more to lose. Your race has no one at my level. I know this. So, who would stop me if I start going around your galaxy to repay your race a billionfold? Can you imagine it? Me, with nothing holding back against your race. Can you all stop me? Maybe I would even ally myself with the Kree. You huff. The horror on her face is palpable. Let me ask you one last question. Where is the woman that you stole the identity from? He softens the foot that was pressing on her chest, allowing her to breathe more freely now. Huffin in the producer's bathroom cabin. The Skrull answers good. Now you can go. Idolan dismissively unties the female Skrull and retrieves his lasso and then takes his sit again. Everyone is confused. What? Go now, while I'm feeling generous. The agents are already coming to take you in. Here, a portal to a random close alley. Idolan says, opening a portal. You didn't hurt anyone, so just go away and tell your queen to give up on Earth, is not worth it. He says nonchalantly. Franna, the female Skrull, looks at him for a moment before passing through his portal. Idolan just watches her silently and does nothing. Now that I showed a little example, let's talk about the universe. Idolan says without care. Is this really okay? Steve asks about letting the Skrull go. What? You want me to kill her? I'm not afraid of conflict, but there's no need to directly seek it either. She is irrelevant in the great schemes of things, and I refuse to give them the moral high ground to invade us attacking. First, if they come as invaders and will be treated as such. I will give them a last chance to leave us alone. What he doesn't say is that he has the means to track her now, so he is just realizing her to discover more. Do you think that they will do that? Steve asks, a little worried. Maybe, maybe not. Don't worry. They are a big empire. They can't move so many resources to deal with us. Because of this, they use these tactics. I already checked that no world leader was secretly substituted for a Skrull, and I already unveiled their scheme. They will need to do it the hard way now. And isn't this bad? I mean, relax. Let me tell you a little about the universe first, the other galaxies and the people that inhabit them. First, our galaxy has no overlord. Is a very lawless place, really. The closer galaxies are all ruled by someone, like the Kree, Skrull, or Shi'ar Empire. None of these races are very amicable. You don't become the ruler race of a galaxy being a pacifist. Heh. He says, talks a little without revealing too much, is good to increase Idolan's credibility. In the future, his words will be proved true, so people will listen to what he have to say in important decisions. freeubnoel.com. So is no surprise if these unified galaxies come here to do whatever they want. Steal resources, kidnap people. Here is also filled with criminals and space pirates. But why we are still not conquered yet? He asks rhetorically. Well, first, the other races are disputing between themselves. Is also unnecessary to put much effort here, so they take it slow. But the main reason is, he pauses to build suspense, we are filled with individually strong people. Heh. Our galaxy is full of planetary-level monsters. Odin is a good example. He is one of the strongest in the universe and has no interest in ruling more than the 9 realms. There are strong people in the other galaxies? Yes, but is rare, and they're too precious to risk losing here. Fighting against us just for a mudball like Earth. But most of them are overall strong as a human, maybe Captain America level. After all, they have years ahead of us to study genetic enhancements and cybernetic augmentations. So they are afraid of us. Steve asks, surprised. Yes. Can you imagine it? They deploy 50 million battleships to conquer Earth. A totally overkill. And then, a Magneto or another someone crush them, easily. Thor blast them in smithereens. The loss would be too big. He continues, you need to know. We are not that defenseless in the universe, but we should be in a better situation. People like me and the other metas are assets and are respected out there. Here? Pfft. We could cheat our way to the top, but... He shrugs his shoulders and don't elaborate because there's no need. He already talked extensively about this question. As a side note, for a long time Hector was torn to decide how he would present the alien problem. The more easy way would be to make them an enemy. A foreign enemy always make people unite easily. This would be a faster solution to the treatment of the metas, but would let problems a long term. By the way, I need to say, not all aliens are bad. Don't generalize. Generalization is stupid. There are all types of people out there. We just met the bad ones for now. He says, he felt no guilt in painting the Skrulls in a bad light. They bring a bunch of problems manipulating public opinion in the comics, making the heroes have a hard time. Will this give birth to some sort of alien xenophobia? Maybe. But this also can be easily remedied with an alien hero helping Earth at some point. I see. Is all that Steve says to Idolan's explanation. Still worried, Steve? Idolan asks gently. Yes, I'm a little. Yes. He confesses. Don't be. Earth is safe for a long time. That was obviously not the first invasion. We just see it now because the means of communication are not good and information was suppressed. In the past, many special and remarkable people protected Earth from the shadows. We are not pushovers. I will protect you. I will die before Earth be destroyed. And believe it, I'm very hard to kill. Idolan tries to lighten the mood and he makes people smile a little, but there's still some unease in the air. I would prefer that you not die too. Steve says, haha. Yes, me too. But this would be the preferable outcome if there's no other option. Idolan looks a little more serious now. Can you imagine it? Your home planet is destroyed and you survive. In the universe, all alone. He says with a distant look. Is because of this that I don't like the Avenger name. If we can't save Earth, you can be sure that we will avenge it. Is a good threat. I just did that. But to me, if Earth is bound to be destroyed and is really inevitable. He takes a deep breath. I think I prefer ser the first to die. He reveals. People stay in silence for a while before they start applauding him. Idolan just raises his arm slightly in gratitude. As a planet, we are way behind in everything. Idolan explains the difference between Earth and other planets in the universe. Well, is not like we are the last in line. Many planets must have our lowers of technology and development. But when comparing ourselves to the average planets that can actively participate in the universe politics, economy, and other things, we are really severely lacking. We are literally divided in all important social and political questions. Almost 200 countries, differente currencies and entire things that generates inequality. Idolan put his hand on his forehead, tired. We literally discriminate between ourselves for skin color. Ugh. Our skin doesn't even have a different color, it's just the tonality. Let me say, the Crees distinguish for skin color, they're a horrible example to follow and even them separate themselves in blues, pinks. And is not like they discriminate because of the color. There are much more other things involved, like money, status and bloodline purity. We still haven't even reached another planet. What I'm trying to say is, me and the entire heroes can buy time. But we are not the solution. We could help the planet rises up. I know that we have the potential. The day that I'm not necessary anymore will the happiest day of my life. Idolan sighs with a smile after some applause of the audience. Steve smiles and jokes like Mary Poppins. Pfft. Yes, when you all be happy I'm flying away in my umbrella. Idolan jokes looks troublesome having to take care of all these kids of the planet. Idolan. We are 6 billion. Steve continues laughing. You tell me. 24/7 and I'm not even paid. He says with fake outrage. After this, the interview go back to a question-answer dynamic. Idolan answers the doubts Steve and the audience have about the universe. How close are the habitable planets? And other sci-fi questions like if hyperdrive is real and others. He hid important information obviously, but he still said a lot. He discovered these things by studying the Chitori database and coupled with his own meta-knowledge he knows a good amount. He has no problems in sharing the basics because in his own words I believe that a population well informed has benefits that outclass the disadvantages. Like now, you guys would be much harder to be tricked by the Skrulls. The directions of the interview starts to deviate again to other topics when he talked about the differences in culture. When dealing with other races is important to not use our human lenses and human sensibilities to judge them. We are not the center of the universe. Maybe a planet has the custom of eating their elders. To us is barbaric, but who is us to judge? Maybe even the elders approve that with a mindset like we would be doing our last good deed helping the next generations. This makes people ask Idolan about his take on other social questions of Earth, like the LGBT, the Palestine-Israel conflict and others. Do you want the truth? I don't care. I treat everyone equally, like people. Divide people by religion, sexual orientation, gender, or nationality is so petty. You guy has no idea how pathetic is it. When a woman talked about something that Idolan said about men and women and talked about male privilege, Idolan decided that was enough of their little games. Okay, I see what you guys are trying to do here. Trying to make me look bad about what I said earlier about women. Tisk. You guys are too early in the cancel culture to try this on me. He thinks you guys want to talk about gender. He looks around. I can talk about gender, is not what I came here, but let's go. Being so direct can make some people hate me. But is progress when people don't hate me more for being a mutant? And when haters risk diehards fans resi too? Idolan thinks let's create some controversy. He straightens himself on his chair and starts. Is funny how you guys really hold a grudge in what I said. And the only thing I said is for men to focus on themselves and forget about women. You guys act like I said to ambush you all at night and spank you. Tisk tisk. I have some insight to give. Steve, do you know the best thing about being powerful? He turns to the host. Fear nothing. Almost. The answer is freedom, Steve. I'm free to do what I want, only my own morals say otherwise. So, I can say whatever I want, whatever I believe is true without fearing reprisal. He shrugs. I'm not a celebrity, I don't depend on fans to exist. So you guys can trust me in everything that I said is what I think. I'm not trying to please anyone. I really want what is best for you all, and because of this, I said. I'm Idolan and I speak hard truths. So, let's start. First of all, discriminating someone for gender and the other things that I mentioned is dumb. Idolan say to laughs. Really, some people are really stupid. I have seen some newspapers and other media calling me misogynist because I beat Amora. Tisk. Are you stupid? I will explain my life philosophy about true gender equality. I hope this can enlighten you all. Idolan say exaggeratedly. Start telling a secret. The world is unfair. Whoa, no one knows about that. Idolan says. Sarcastically, people can have easy and privileged lives if they have a good appearance, born in a first world country. Things that is impossible to control and the person has no merit in it. People are treated better if they have these advantages. Is a natural thing of our race. And I refuse to be part of it. You, lady, talked about male privilege, so can you say one privilege or right that a man has that you don't have? Idolan points to the woman that asked. The woman pauses a little, even the producer lady holding the mic to her frowns while trying to think about it. Right now I can't think of any of it. She says, a little embarrassed. You can't think because there's none. Laws is for all. If you're mistreated for being a woman, that would be an individual case committed by an individual person. I can even go more far and say. Idolan looks to the side and asks Steve, do you know who are the most privileged people on this planet? I'm not sure now. This looks like a tricky question. You're right about that. The most privileged people are Western women. White ones even more so. And the ones that are beautiful and below the age of 25 are basically demigods. He says to some gasps of outrage of the audience. I think you guys have even more power than me. He jokes. I'm serious. You guys can do almost anything and will be protected somehow. I'm tired of seeing a situation where a woman is the one in the wrong against a guy and people appears to defend her. They assume that she is the victim always. Always. He points out, you know, Steve, I started a little side project to study inmates and their cases to help the ones that are put in jail unjustly. He says to the host, whoa, that's nice. I'm sure that many people are in jail being innocent. Our system can fail sometimes. The host says appreciatively, yes, I just started and I plan to release the information with the help of Anonymous, so that the cases can be opened again. I also investigating corrupt cops, by the way. But continuing, let me say that I found in this country, the USA, 192 guys unjustly condemned to prison for rape. And if we see other minor sexual offenses, the number increases even more. Idolan looks at the host seriously. These men are innocent. There's no proof beyond the women words accusing them and they're put in jail. How ridiculous is to them to need to prove that they are innocent instead of the other part prove them guilty. Damn, I don't know that. And everyone knows how much a sexual offender suffers in prison, right? Can you imagine being innocent and being in this situation? Idolan says, looking around. Another double standard. Steve, sexual assault against women is a serious thing. But against men, are jokes. How many movies or other things on media made light of men being made? A little girl in prison? Is that funny? I don't see it. To me is serious in all situations. He says, frowning, you girls believe that men have much better lives, and is because of this that you all are so offended when I talked defending men. How dare he try to make men have even better lives? They don't have enough privileges. I can almost hear your thoughts. He continues, the truth is, nowadays a woman can destroy a man with a few words. My advice to men to stay always from you girls is to them protect themselves from bad women, like you all must have received some advice about staying away from bad men. Our boys never received something like that. Can you imagine it? You're living your life and then all of a sudden your ex-girlfriend or just a woman that you have a small fling with goes to the police and accuse you of violence. It's over. Your life is over. Your reputation is lost, your credibility. You lose scholarships, job, a bunch of hero wannabes will want to hurt or kill you. Is hell. And bad women do it without a shred of guilty, so I repeat, my boys, don't chase women. Is much more worth being alone than with some people. People are people. There are bad men, there are bad women, there are bad black people and there are bad metas. Simply as that. The difference, we are held accountable by our mistakes. When a man does something against a woman, he will suffer from their fellow men, in society, in prison. If a meta abuses his power against innocence, I will be the first to drop from the sky in his head, but in most cases the sublet violence against men goes with no punishment. Idolan raises his shoulders. My life philosophy is simple. I will not treat you better because you have a good appearance, you're rich, or you're a woman. But I will not treat you badly if you're ugly, poor, or whatever. Only your actions can increase or diminish my respect for you. At this moment a woman stands up and raises her hand. An assistant producer goes with the mic to her to talk. Idolan, and what about the pay gap between men and women? This wouldn't be a male privilege. She says, very proud of herself, and many women agree with her. Well, the pay gap is a myth. Idolan cuts. Already everyone is stated by law that everyone should be paid equally to do the same job. If you're woman and is not paid the same amount as your male counterpart, you can go to justice and receive a hefty indemnity. No business owner or CEO would be an idiot to risk it. Idolan says simply, you probably takes this information of women being paid less in some graphs or research. The truth is these graphs do not take into account overtime. Men normally work in average 48 hours a week while women works 42 hours a week. So, not mentioning this fact makes appear that men receives more. Really? Damn, this makes sense. Steve comments, and before anyone says something about women in sports, they play the same amount and receive less. Capitalism. That is my simple answer. Men's sports are more interesting and bring more revenue. Can you imagine how much money I and other heroes would make if we go play, let's see, a simple game of dodgeball and sell tickets to watch? He said, I bet many people would like to go see. In fact, this not even a bad idea to charity. He appears to be thinking of doing this in the future. Anyway, to illustrate it more, I will make a question to you guys, in the audience. Idolan says, and rise from his chair, raises your arm to option A, and oh, don't raise your arm to option B. The hero says, option A, do you prefer working as a CEO of a prestigious company without being paid? Option B, or work in a low-end job like working on the sewers, picking the trash, for $150,000 a year. You have to work on these jobs for 10 years, only after this you can quit. Idolan says. The audience raises their hand. And the people taught choose the option A are all women. No. Man choose the option A. While some women choose the option B and all men choose this option too. That's it. This difference in mindset can explain the pay gap between men and women. And more. Do you all really think that someone wants to work in the sewers? That someone grows as a child dreaming of picking trash? No. Everyone wants a high-level job, but not anyone can get it. How many people do you think failed to achieve the success of Steve? He points to the host. Thousands, probably. The host answers, yet, these jobs are rare for a motive. And the difference between men and women is, while the women can always settle in being a housewife or a stay-home mom, a man that fails to acquire these jobs will need to work in another something. Idolan looks around. Many of you women say that there are things that men will never understand about you all. But I can say that you also will never understand the constant social pressure that a man is under to provide for everyone close to him. 90% of the dangerous and very essential jobs in our society are made by men. Plumbing, power lines, things that keep the world spinning. We have no other option, we need to do those things. That was what being a man is. Do things that you don't want for others. And the sad reality is that we are rarely appreciated for it. At this point, the many men in the audience applaud Idolan. In the past we treated women like queens and ladies to be treated like king and sirs. Nowadays if you treat someone like a queen, she treats you like a servant. Don't be a simp, fellas. Idolan reinforces his point again. Chivalry is dying. Guess who is killing it? Let's talk about feminism. He continues, first of all, feminism is great. Gave women the power to vote, learn, work and be independent. This bring dignity, you know? Being capable of acquiring your own money gives peace of mind and is very liberating. Many women have freed themselves of abusive relationships thanks to that. But he pauses already served its purpose. Women are equal to men. By the way, in truth, the whole feminism movement is just a tactic of the big companies to create a consumer market. Stay-at-home wives have no purchase power after all. But you guys are not ready to talk about it. Wait. What? Anyway, idolan continues ignoring the shocked expressions after gaining what they want. I think feminism lost a little fo they north. And because of this there's so much hate against men. Look at me, the meta question. I don't ask for any law to protect us, or quotas or whatever. I just ask to metas be capable of going out on the streets without being beaten up, have the chance of working. The bare minimum. And I think I will acquire those things educating the people. And I think the same about feminism. Violence against women is a reality, but the individual bad men that does this are not gonna stop because you all screams hates against men. Sincerely, I think makes things worse. I think feminism should focus in teaching respect at an early age and gives the example of tolerance. This is an interesting take in this question. Steve comments. Recently I watched an interview on TV, and a woman is talking about how the man holding the door to a woman is misogynist. Something about we exercising our power of the patriarchy unconsciously controlling the coming and going of the woman. Idolan makes a face to Steve. The host holds back his laughter. I mean, this is an example that nowadays the movement mostly attacks men for anything. Is just a door, people. Is just being polite. Don't think too hard. Sorry to the real feminists that really work hard to protect the women, but the bad part is taking over. Can you imagine me? If I come here and attack all of you talking how you all are ignorant, violent, murders because of a small part of the humans that treat the metas like lesser beings. He says makes sense. No one likes being personally attacked or generalized. At this point, another woman raised his hands to talk. Idolan, and about the double standard of the man that sleeps around is a playboy but a woman that does the same is a slut. She asks and receives some nods from the audience in this. I agree with you. Idolan says I think slut shaming is the term used nowadays. Sincerely I agree that you could do whatever you want with your body, but I don't recommend it. I will explain later. But let me explain why women are shamed in this way. He adds an old man. Whatever, scratch that. My grandfather once told me, a key that opens many locks is a master key, but a lock that opens to any key is useless. Idolan says making Steve hold back his laughter again is a very misogynistic way of saying it, but I need to agree. This is one of the differences between men and women. Is easy to women to get sex, so why should we praise you for it? He says reasonably sincerely I don't approve of a hedonistic lifestyle for any of the genders. Idolan says maybe is only my perspective, but sex is disputing. Steve laughs at Idolan declaration sincerely. I can understand what you're talking about. Yeah, you guys have no super senses. So don't know what I'm talking about. I believe is an intimate moment that you shouldn't share with just anyone, but is expected that the man need to conquer many women and the woman to keep herself chaste. Weird paradox. Don't be pressured, people. I have no shame in telling my body count, by the way. Try to guess it, Steve. Idolan turns to the host. 1,000. Pfft. Who do you think I am? Thor? Stark? Less. Well, you look the serious type. 50 less. 30 less. 10 less. Even Steve is looking at Idolan strangely now. I'm not lying. I'm holding the lasso. He raises the golden rope in his hand. 5 less. Is not possible. 1. Congratulations. Just 1. He says calmly and puts away the lasso. He looks around a little and chuckles. I can almost feel some of you thinking less of me and other thinking better of me, but that it is, even if is shameful for a man having a low body count. That's mine. I really think that sex was banalized nowadays. In this, I can agree with you. This internet. Steve comments, do you know that the ancient people believed that when you have sexual intercourse with someone, you give a part of yourself to the other and take a part of them in exchange? Some soul, spiritual belief from the past. Because of this there's this belief that magic users kept themselves virgins and virgins are used in sacrifice. Their soul would be pure. Idolan shares like the nuns and fathers. It can be. The truth is sex is great, helps your body, mind. But having casual sex with someone that you will never see again every week? Ugh. Disgusting. There's needed a minimum level of trust and affection to this, my underrated opinion. If the vision of our ancients is true, people's souls nowadays are looking like mosaics, he jokes, hee hee. There's another difference between men and women. To men, sex can be physical. No problem. Women tend to have a more emotional take on sex. This comes from the fact that they have a much more high EQ, emotional quotient, than us men. This comes from our evolution. If we look to our natures, we, men, are made to efficiency and increase the population. Our orgasms are quicker, we recover fast, and many other things. Don't laugh, I talking scientifically here. Hey, go on. I just thought that no woman can blame a man now. Is our evolution, ladies. That is how we are made. Haha. Idolan shakes his head at his joke. The things is, while a man can separate well old relationship, women tend to bring this whole baggage emotional. So is a man chose to prefer women with low body count. Sorry, but is a fact. Another woman tries to talk again. And what about harassment like catcalling and groping that women suffer every day, idolan? He answers calmly, it's a fact that women are truly more prone to be at the receiving end of these types of crimes. And there are laws to punish the offenders. Even we, men, punish them like I talked early. The problem is the bad ones that misuse the power that you have. Sorry to say the obvious, but women can't be the villain in certain cases. And is catcalling really that bad? He asks while frowning. A man needs to give his shot. Some are bad at it. Is disrespectful. The woman says with certain being treated like an object, makes us uncomfortable. Interesting. Idolan puts his chin in his fingers. I remember that when I take off my mantle to show my body transformations, you all screamed, whistled, and said some rude things too. Including you, my dear. I remember very well. Isn't that catcalling? He looks at them with a gotcha look. Steve is again covering his face to not show how much he think that this is fun. You guys should practice what you all preach. Is it just because I'm a man that I can't feel uncomfortable? This is another double standard. I have seen some cases of guys that rejected women grabbing their butts or other advances, and in response, they are called gay or even attacked by the said woman. How dare a man reject my advance? I'm a woman. And we can't even fight back because we are be the bad guys if we act just a little more aggressively. See, like demigods. He says, in the Xavier mansion, this guy is really a universe ahead of all of us. Kitty comments he is playing chess while we still learning checkers. Jubilee adds he is arguing with a bunch of women. Speak says, and winning. Kurt completes he is really the best of us. He is the chosen one. Warren says he can beat us in our own game. He is too powerful to be left alive. Kitty jokes maybe this is the why these women are so angry with him. Jean says, back to the studio by the way, I'm not bashing women. Idolan says, do you think I underestimate or looks down on women? I just want you all to notice that, yes, there are bad men out there. But there are bad women too. Women aren't always the victim. And violence against men, made by women, is much more subtle. Stay on guard, my boys. Like always, good advice, Idolan. Looking back, I can see many moments when I suffered this subtle violence. I haven't noticed till now. Steve says, it's normal, we are used to this. Is normal for a woman to use physical violence against a man. She is a woman, her attacks don't ever hurt. Now go man, slap a woman's hand away. Try it. Is simply not fair. And because of this I preach gender equality? Ha 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 ha. To end this gender debate, let's me talk about relationships. Maybe the linchpin of our species. He pauses to wait for people to focus on him even more. Like always, men and women are not the same when the subject is relationships. Let me explain and give some counsel to my boys. First, men's and women's views of relationships are different. They seek different things, have different times, and act differently. Is not weird that many marriage fails nowadays. By the way, 80% of divorces are started by women, just to keep it in mind. I talked early about my preoccupation with men's mental health. You know that I can watch the world more easily thanks to my super senses, so the things that I saw give me some propriety to talk about this. Let me share it. A man is a simple creature, to the point that we are a little dumb. He say to laughs we have different preferences, but all of us want a somewhat cute girl that treat us well. That's it. Secret revealed. I sign it. Steve raises his hand now. women. His pauses bring more laughs, and he already improved the mood again. I have an IQ bigger than the number of people in this building, empathic powers, and super senses enough to catch the minimal details of someone's expression. And it's still hard to me to figure out women. Even more laughs. But now, even I, with my now revealed small experience with women, can tell some things. Women in general are attracted by the Trinity 6. Trinity 6. 6 feet tall, 6-pack and 6 figures. Idolan says to the realization of everyone. Obviously I'm generalizing and personal preferences can vary. If you're funny, handsome, and other things are good too. So where do I want to go with this? A normal and average man in his 20s doesn't have these things. So they are invisible to women. You can imagine what this does to the mind of an average youngster. While women are in their best phase, this moment is when most of the men are at their lowest. They question themselves, their worth. Remember what I talked about men being appreciated by how much they provide? So, how can a 22 guy bursting his ass in college and working half-time provide to someone they almost can't survive for themselves? And this is where my early advice enters. I said to you guys to stop chasing women and focus on yourselves. This is a difficult time for you. I know. Miyamoto Musashi, a famous samurai, has an interesting life philosophy. He believed that pain is an important part of life and we should accept it like we accept happiness and blessings. Many humans tend to run away from it, turn to the other side, and try to mask the pain. But trying to avoid pain is detrimental to us. There's no easy life, my fellas. Musashi believed that we should build ourselves to the point that we can tolerate pain and welcome it. Use pain to grow. Most of us do this at some point in our lives. After a heartbreak, a death of a loved one. These things are a wake-up call to us, right? Remember my advice. We, men, have to continue forward even in pain. No one is coming to save you, my friend. Do you have problems? No one care. The earlier you accept this reality and start working yourself to be capable of standing on your feet alone, the better. His speech brings applause and cheers from the audience. He lets them for a while before continuing. And because of this, I tell you, guys, to not simp. Life advice of Idolan: we have 3 currencies in our life, my friends. Money, time, and energy. He raises 3 fingers and you all waste your important currencies on random girls that don't even care about you. Time is limited to everyone. If you're rich enough, you can buy other people time to spare your own money, if you're not born with it. Tisk, tisk. The only way is to work for it. But to do this, you will need energy. And because of this, I preached about you taking care of your body. By the way, is much easier for a woman to become rich in the marriage. Women never date low. So to my boys, the only way is working. Well, you can try to be a criminal. But then I will catch you. He jokes. Haha, work hard fellas, your time will come. Want to know when? In your 30s. Idolan says, so specific. Steve comments, haha. Yeah. Do you want to know why? Another difference between men and women. Women after their 30s start decaying the things that a man search, good appearance. And men? Men age like fine wine. Steve, how long have you been on TV? Idolan asks light-hearted. 18 years. And you haven't aged a day. Seriously? Did this man changed in anything? Idolan asks the audience. Many people laugh and say no. We, men, are at our peak at our 30s. So relax if you are having a hard time in your 20s. Work hard and believe in yourself. Your time will come. He advises. I know that maybe you're terrified of being a loser. Maybe the world is telling you that. But is bullshit. Everyone has great potential. You can do it. I will issue a challenge to the boys. Women can participate also. Idolan raises his hand. 180 days. 6 months. During this time, dedicate 1 hour of your day in doing something productive. Go to the gym, read a book, practice a sport, find a hobby. At the end of this time, you will have changed. 6 months is the time needed to you to become a much better version of yourself. And this is just the start. This is only the beginning of you putting yourself on the right path. My name is Idolan, which means an idealized person or thing. I choose this name to inspire people in being better because is what I'm trying to. Hard work will not betray you. After many more applauses, Steve comments sincerely, this is a good surprise Idolan, you advising the young. Now I'm really seeing the problem. When you talked early about the advice to young men when they are in trouble is man up, really make me think. Not all boys out there have father figures or someone to look up. They will need to learn trying and making mistakes. And some of these mistakes can cost a lot. I'm glad that you can be an example. Thank you. At this moment, Steve stands up to give Idolan a stand-up ovation and everyone follows him. The man sat to talk a little and ended the questions about racism, religion, abortion, and now is solving misogyny. Bobby Drake comments, well, more than listen, people need top UT in practice his words. Jean completes. Another interesting topic to approach is marriage, Steve. Idolan says to the host men need to be careful in their marriage. True. And is funny the inversion of the power dynamic in the marriage. Idolan laughs with himself. I said early that women can have sex when they want, and the men have sex only when the women want. Marriage is the opposite. The man only marry when he wants and the woman when can. Haha. I never thought about that. Steve laughs. This moment of deciding if we'll marry and when we'll marry is the only moment where a man has the power in a relationship nowadays. Haha. And after this, the power is with the woman again. Steve jokes. Heh. Exactly. Sincerely, I always thought that is weird how much power over the man the woman has in the marriage. Deciding things on the house, making the husband sleep in the couch, and using sex as a bargain chip. Weird. And is even weirder how these things were talked with laughs. He says more seriously, now marriage is unfair to the man. If the woman decides to leave the man, she takes half of his money, the house, the kids. Guys, don't marry so easily. They will try to pressure you. We're together 4 years. When we are gonna marry, you need to put a ring on my finger. For it, do you want a wife paying the price of a girlfriend? HMPF. Mind games, my good men. Not all women are like that obviously. But you need to guard against the ones that are. If there are men out there that cheat, scam, and lie to have sex, there are women out there that do the same for marriage. Sometimes they don't see you as a partner, a companion. They see you like a retirement plan. Choose well, always sign the prenup, independent of anything, and do DNA tests on all your kids. Idolan advises, pointing to the camera. DNA test? Isn't this going too far? Steve asks, unsure. I wish. 1/5 of the marriages have children that are not of the husband, that the wife scammed him. Idolan says, damn, seriously. Yeah, men have this other fragility. They can be scammed too. Paternity. Sad but true. Whoa, I'm shocked. Do you want me check on yours, Steve? Idolan asks. What? No, I trust my wife. He says with certain. Idolan looks at him for a moment before disappearing. Some seconds later he comes back to the same position. Safe. All are yours. Sorry, but I have gone check. You can hate me, but now you have peace of mind and is all on me. Idolan says simply. Steve looks at him. He doesn't comment, but deep down he is grateful. All men want to be sure, but is a difficult subject to approach. You know what? I will do it with everyone here. Idolan says before standing up. He points his wrist to the audience and a blue light scan everyone. Around Idolan many holoscreens appear showing the face of the people in the audience. They social media accounts. And other things. Then Idolan disappears. Some minutes later he come back. The first thing he says is, from the 211 in the audience, 63 are a couple with children, and from these, in 11 marriage there are children that is not from the husband and he is being cheated on it. Idolan declares. Gasps and other exclamations of surprise could be heard. Idolan raises his hand showing a bunch of cards. I have written in these cards if you're being cheated on or not. If all the children are yours, on the card is written the word safe. If not, is written you're not the father and the name of the kid and other information. Idolan makes the cards float and go to their owners. If you don't want to know, just destroy it. You need to remove the cover to see the truth. You can open it at home too. The choice is yours. He said and gives the cards. Most of the men open the thing immediately and sigh in relief. Others hide well, but Idolan can see their grief. Men are better at holding to themselves. Other don't dare to open the card for now. An interesting turn of events is when 2 of the women snatch the card away from their husband's hands. Confusion ensues. Will you trust him more than me? The woman screams. The guy is shaking and almost crying. In the end he decides to get out, the woman following him. Are you happy now? She screams at Idolan while getting out. No. He answers evenly to the ones that can hear. Hurts but is necessary. Idolan slowly sat, looking a little tired. He sighs. Men's life is full of hardships. And because of this, I advised you to only Seek a relationship when you're happy with yourself. This is, wow, full of emotions tonight. Steve comments the sad reality. And no one talks about this. No one screams to protect men or teaches them to protect themselves. We, men, aren't always the villains that we are portrayed to be. We are seen potential rapists, but are also potential helpers, providers, defenders. He looks at the audience. Do you women understand that a man can die for you at any moment? He asks seriously, and I'm not even saying of your father, brother, or son. A stranger man can put himself at risk to help you. It's in our DNA, our evolutionary process. We would die for you all. And we accept it. We don't fight against it. He points to one of his haters in the audience. You, lady, that don't like me very much. I would die for you. He says with all seriousness of the world. The woman can't speak. Anything is the path that I choose. Maybe this whole hero thing deep down is some sort of masculine instinct to protect the others. Idolan raises his shoulders. In an expression of maybe I have a talk with Spider-Man one of these days, and he said with great powers come great responsibilities is his philosophy in his hero duty. We men are, generally, stronger than the women, and we would protect you all. I live for my own motto too. A strong man can defend himself, but a stronger man can defend others. I'm very proud to say that. During the invasion have seen many of my fellow men helping people in need, putting themselves at risk. He says something like 95% of the people helping others, carrying injured, pulling someone from debris, going the opposite direction to rescue and risking their lives during the invasion are men. It's our instinct. The good side of masculinity is when people only treat it as something toxic. Many people in the audience at home nods in approval. After Idolan receives another ovation, he continues. Now I will say my life philosophy. Idolan says, by all means, go on. Well, I joke about being an advocate of true gender equality when I hit a woman. Amora in the case, but is true that women have certain privileges. Amora has people defending her. That psycho and horrible Asgardian have people taking her side. Why? Because she is a woman and she is beautiful. I found it disgusting. He showed his displeasure in his eyes. Recently I met a criminal, the Black Cat. Most of you guys must know her. She steals things. Sincerely, she never hurt anyone, and I was busy with other things. So I just took back what she has stolen and let her run away. She has some circumstances that are not my place to tell. She is not that bad, really. But I'm telling you this because she has fan club. Idolan chuckles. Why? She has a fan club. He gave the people a judgmental eye. Must be her wonderful personality. Sure. He says sarcastically. Hey, isn't it my fault that you men are a bunch of simps? Felicia Hardy comments while watching Idolan. She then looks to her costume and the big cleavage. I mean, I help. But it's all on you guys. Anyway, in the end, the good treatment that women receive from men and even the attacks that she receives come from one thing. Men see them as sex. That's it. I confess. When a man met a woman, the first thing he thinks is sex. Some people look around strangely, but I'm different. I transcended that and see women as a person first and always, and this is awesome. Why? This allows you to know the person more, beyond the looks, and makes you focus on other things. I met incredible women. People recently. They're smart, funny, empathic, hardworking, good. Change is nothing that they are women. Do you think I will look down on women? Please. In my line of work, if I underestimate or be seduced by a woman, I will receive a 15 centimeters hot needle on my eye. He jokes to Steve. This looks surprisingly specific. Has it happened before? Steve asks conspiratorially. No, I will never be caught lacking. He jokes, and with powers in the mix, why think that women are less? Please, I'm not stupid. I will always maintain a respectful distance from women. Not treating them like gods and not treating them bad till their actions make me do it. There are only advantages in having this mindset, and encourage all men to adopt this way of thinking. The attention-seeking women will not have their underserved attention from men, and is good for the women too. If more men have this mindset, sexual assault and harassment will diminish. Isn't this what you all want? I recommend. Try it. I know it's hard. Men are naturally very horny. He jokes again, making the people laugh, and I'm not even kidding. Men are horny 90% of the time. True, I also confess. Steve enters with his words, and this is another strange double standard. Steve. How Hormones. Why is socially accepted a woman to rage, cry, making drama when her hormones act up? Why should a man be all careful with them at this point? He asks, but male hormones are a motive of shame. Testosterone makes us prone to violence and horny, but is a motive to shame us, and if we don't control it we're savages. I never thought about that. Imagine an 11-year-old kid found an adult magazine or an adult website. He looks at it, confused about why that images make his body act strange. His mother found him and berates him, shaming him. This is wrong, don't look at that. Why? Why not explain? Maybe we should do sex education to little boys different. Teach them that is normal to feel like that, but is necessary to respect the boundaries of women, and having good control over it can improve their life quality. Teach to channel this energy into others' activities. Maybe fewer sex offenders would exist too. Idolan finishes. Don't you want to give counsel to the women too? To them not feel left out? Steve says diplomatically to help Idolan. The hero chuckles and says, all right, I can do it. The same thing that I said to the men. Build yourself to be better. But with one twist. A more specific piece of advice. Idolan raises his index finger. Don't go into a hoe phase. He said to some laughs. I'm serious. Some women think that the world will be theirs forever. They're young and beautiful. So let's party. No, don't do it. Don't waste your better years. Like that? 2 motives. First, unlike the man, the world cares about his future. The world cares about your past, women. And you can't erase it. With the internet nowadays. Imagine you after your hoe phase, you go to a job interview, and the company sees an old video of you twerking. He pauses and raises his eyebrow. You find the perfect man. You want to marry him. He found an old video of you drinking alcohol directly from a bottle of a strange dude with sexual innuendo, like with your tongue out or something like that. Your chances will diminish. If you do a hoe phase, at least be discreet about it. He winks at them, making some laugh, but this would be you lying to the world. Can you lie to yourself? The other motive is about this. While you're partying, wasting money and days drunk and with a hangover, your competition is improving. And one day you will meet her/him in a dispute about for something. A job, a man. Don't fall into this trap. Imagine your parents too. Ugh. Respect them, your future husband and yourself. Only good things will come from this. Idolan advises. Excellent. Excellent advice, Idolan. Steve exclaims, satisfied. You know, I have daughters and I always teach them in judging people, not in a bad way, but be capable of distinguishing the people that can be good or bad to them. Influence, you know, good parenting. Idolan praises this is another difference between men and women, Steve. The friendships. I'm sorry to say, but women's friendships are more fake. Idolan shrugs his shoulders. Let me tell a story of a girl that I saw. The hero starts. There's this young woman, teenager, she is beautiful. The more beautiful of her circle of friends. And she respects herself. She doesn't involve herself too far with the guys that approach her, drinks very little. She takes care of herself. But she is constantly nagged by her friends to let it go a little. Go with that guy, drink more, and enjoy life. You're so beautiful XXXXXXXX. You should enjoy your youth, they said. Idolan pauses dramatically. Lies. He said they want her to stoop down to their hoe levels. Steve guffawed to this. They're envious of her looks and her integrity. They already did everything on the book, Steve. And they feel less when they go close to a woman that is not only beautiful but sure of herself enough to not go down in this path just for approval and attention. I can imagine that. Sadly I can. Steve comments, the story I'm talking. Many girls are living it right now. Don't give in to pressure. Be yourself. I know that you don't want to be ostracized or bullied. But in some years, you will let this all behind you. And you will be in a good spot morally and mentally. Steve himself applauds Idolan. This time before the rest follow him. Being a father of girls must be hard. Well, Idolan, we are almost finished here. Damn, that's much time has passed already. Steve looks at his watch. In truth, the next program is cancelled because the interview took too long and is a record of the audience. Yeah, I'm surprised myself. We talked about many topics. I think is good. You're a smart and nice guy, Idolan. And like you said, you're not afraid of saying some truths, so I think is very good to the world to listen to you. Steve says appreciatively. Thank you. Now, still on women. Steve exclaims animatedly, making Idolan froze. He was already tired of impersonating Jordan Peterson. What is your type of woman? Steve asks with a smirk. Seriously? Absolutely. The people want to know, right, people? He asks the audience. Yeah. They answer. Sigh. Okay, I will answer. Idolan sighs. Many people are more focused now. Will sound cheesy, but I don't have a type. He answers and receives boos of the audience. He looks around jokingly offended. What do you want? I'm Idolan. Do you think I care about appearance? The girl could have pink skin, horns, 4 arms, be 2 meters tall. To me doesn't matter. Personality will be the most important. He continues, and I'm not even attracted to a specific personality. The person could be cheerful, more quiet, gentle, calm, strong-minded, whatever. If she treats me well and respects me, well, the answer that I imagined coming from you, Idolan. By the way, I have a requirement. Idolan raises his index finger. Only one. Say it. There are even more people at home paying attention now except all of me. He says. Looks easy but is not. Normal people can't cope with my lifestyle. I also demand a certain level of respect, but these things are normal. Sincerely, instead of things that I search for, someone is more like they're things that a woman can't do if I'm in a relationship with her. Makes sense. You must have problems that I can't even imagine. But what are the things she can't do? Steve asks. Well, for starters, there are some obvious bad things that I can't accept. But the interesting one is another thing that can be talked about when we discussed men's and women's relationship. Idolan starts as an example. I wouldn't like if my girlfriend is too intimate with male friends, dress too provocatively when I'm not with her, don't give me my space. Things like that. Idolan looks around when hears some gasps from the women and roll his eyes. Damn, you guys are so conditioned to detest everything that is said remotely against women that you all can't even help in instinctively scrunching your face. Listen well. He raises his hand. This is the bare minimum. Nowadays I see many women calling men insecure if they say those things. It's not. It's just respect to your companion. I will say it for all the boys. Yes, we don't like when you have a male friend that you are so happy to see him that you let go of 4 hands to give him a big hug and squeal like a little girl. We don't like when you go out alone with your hoe friends. We don't like if you're showing too much skin to other people. But Idolan, you're insecure and controlling. Pfft. I'm a 6'4" foot tall, with a good appearance, super powerful, trillionaire. I have standards. And I'm not controlling. I will never force anyone to do anything. If my partner can't do these things, I will just walk away. Bye. No problem. I have self-respect, Steve. I, myself, don't casually give liberties to women. If I do this single, you can imagine me in a relationship. So is wrong of me for wanting the same of my companion. He points to himself. Absolutely not. I agree with you. By the way, you said space too. Is peace of mind, Steve. I also see a lot of men that works 8 hours a day, sometimes 10 or even 12, go home and still be chewed by their wife. And they can't get out of this, because the law is on her side. He continues. So, do you think I, after going out fighting for my like, want to go home and don't have peace? I don't want this for me and anyone. Idolan says. I agree. By the way, something that you said attracted my attention. Steve frowns. Yes. You said, trillionaire. He raises his eyebrows comically to Idolan. Haha. Yeah, you know Tot Space has many resources, right? So is not difficult for me to go out and bring an asteroid with millions of tons in metals like gold and others. I mostly use it to build some things. I don't throw it at the market. I'm no dumb. And man, you're talking $10 at time from me, you heartless bastard. He jokes, making Idolan laughs out loud. Haha. A bet is a bet. But here, use my money to give it to someone that needs it. But do it personally. Idolan gives Steve back his money. I know that you donate money to charity, but you always send someone to it. Go there personally, feel the good upon close. Helping people is great. I love it. Idolan smiles at him. Okay, I will follow your advice. I'm feeling that I'm too holed up in a room lately. You will not regret it. Continuing, let's talk about a not so nice topic. Idolan. Steve says more seriously and points to the big screen behind him. On it appears the image of protesters against mutants, and there's also many mannequins of Idolan and attire racists things. What you think about it? Steve starts. Idolan shrugs his shoulders. Don't like it, but what I can do? Let them be. I hope that I can change their mind in the future. He says calmly. Very Mature, idolan. There's also much hate against you on the media. Especially in the Daily Bugle at this idolan chuckles. Yeah, Jameson doesn't like me very much. He laughs but is okay. Having someone with a contrary opinion is good. I just hope that he would be less biased. He jokes so this doesn't bother you? Sincerely, if I was in your shoes, I don't think that I would go on. They don't like me? Okay. I will stop helping too. I think that's would be my thoughts. Did you ever thought about stopping? Steve asks. No. Never. Idolan looks serious. I don't give up. He says with a determined look. I put this duty on myself, Steve. I choose this path. I will see the end of it. Steve smiles. Damn, man. Is there anything not cool that already comes out of your mouth? He jokes, making the people laugh and applaud. Idolan, you're exaggerating. Idolan says a little bashful. Let me talk about this topic, now that you brought it. We are all ears. Steve says haters is something that everyone that is famous has. I was prepared for that when I appeared in the invasion. Being a meta, I knew what is coming. So, such a small thing will not shake my resolve. I don't regret my choice and never will. What I did do wrong? He asks. Many people think that I'm pretending, that I'm not this good guy that I preach to be, that one day I will reveal my true face, that I'm the Antichrist incarnated. He looks around. So let me get this out of the way already. I'm not the good guy that you all think. I admit. I'm human, full of flaws. I get angry, sad, and annoyed. too. I don't believe that I'm a naturally good person. Not like Captain America and Spider-Man. He confesses to the world. But is this that bad? I'm trying to be my ideal version of myself. Idolan, remember? Someone that will make me, my late parentes, and even the world proud. I'm not a messiah, people. But what is better, to be born good, or to overcome your evil nature through great effort? I'm trying to be good, doing good. And all my haters? What are you doing? Damn, like I said. He never says something uncool. Steve says while people applaud. When I brought the Green Goblin to justice. Idolan continues, making the people go silent. I asked him why. Norman Osborn, a rich guy. Why be a villain? And he answered, I chose my path, you chose the way of the hero. And they may find you amusing for a while, the people of the world. But the one thing they love more than a hero is to see a hero fail, fall, die trying. I will never forget these words. You know why? Because is the truth. Idolan rests his elbow on the armchair while looks sad. Come on, Idolan, is not like that. Steve starts, but Idolan raises his hand to stop him. Is okay, Steve. I already made peace with it. Do you remember when I captured the scroll? I in purpose say little while captured her. And you all doubt me. I have seen your eyes. It's okay. Is natural that one bad action erases all other good actions. How the world works, sadly. The people look ashamed. Some time ago I discovered a scheme, Idolan says without dwelling on the awkward atmosphere. A certain criminal organization would bait me into some place with criminals. Make it obvious that I was there. And after I get out they would kill the criminals and make it appear that was me. Using lasers and other strange means to simulate my strength. He says, this would destroy my credibility and reputation and I would have to prove that I'm innocent. The sad part is, everyone would believe in it. People would choose to believe that I'm a monster instead of that I'm just a guy trying to do good. People are cynical and are just waiting to see me fall. Like the Green Goblin said. What can be said? Everyone knows that is the truth. To end this interview, Idolan, I have one last question. The host says shoot. What is the difference between a hero and a villain? Steve asks this an interesting question that makes Idolan straighten himself on his chair. Good one. Idolan says I already talked about how I believe that truly evil people are equally rare as truly good people. There are good people that go down in a bad path for various reasons, bad influence, pain, and temptation. A sad truth that I discovered while being Idolan is goof people do bad things. And because of this I advise to people taught gain the power to calm down and wait for the high of getting power to subside. Is normal to people think about all the advantages that they could gain with powers and go slowly fall to evil. Idolan says, but talking about real heroes and villains. Let me say this. Recently I found out that we, heroes, are losers. Idolan says. Shocking the audience. Losers. Yeah. People that lost things, Steve. Our life is not that worry-free that you all believe. The universe balanced things. He gives and takes. Idolan explained there's a price that we pay for power. Normally people pay with years of training and effort, sweat, blood, and tears. Us, that gain powers too easily, sometimes lose other things. Idolans continue. We lose loved ones, normal lives, our sanity, or even our timeline. Maybe we survived traumatizing experiences. Idolan list me, Spider-Man, Captain America, Hulk and Stark. We are losers. Idolan repeats and the Idolan asks and the villains? Magneto? Doom? Magneto with certain lost loved ones. Doom is a scarred guy that no one know what he been through. Losers. Just like us. So, what is the difference between heroes and villains, you asked me? Idolan gives a profound look at everyone the mindset. I already talked that life is full of pain. But how we respond to pain is the answer to your question. The villain thinks, the world hurt me, I'm gonna hurt it back. He gesticulates and then continues. The hero think, the world hurt me, I'm not gonna let this happen to anybody else. Obviously everyone cheers and applauds Idolan words. Steve sighs, you're the man. He says smiling. He gets up and offers a handshake that Idolan accept and the two hug afterward. Ladies and gentlemen, please. You know what to do for our hero. Steve points to the audience and they go even crazier in the applause. Thank you for coming, Idolan. Has been a pleasure. The host says the pleasure is all mine. I like to talk about many things with your all. And I loved hearing it. Any departing words? Well, just that. Idolan put his mantle back. I'm Idolan. He claps his hands strongly and all the lights go off. A second later when the lights turn on again the hero is gone. He has style. Steve comments. Hello there. I think being a hero is more than simply saving people's lives. Superman tries to save people's souls, hearts, and hope. And he is the greatest of all. Idolan being an inspiration to the young generation, mostly men, is a plot point that can bring some interesting situations in the future. Can you imagine the confrontation Idolan vs Captain Marvel? I already have some funny things in mind. After this controversial chapter, let's talk about more controversy. Future relationships of the MC. For you information, now relationships will start developing in the story. Finally, I remember when asked me when the romance would develop, I responded, I don't see romance till much later in the story. I need to build it properly, so maybe in the 50s chapter. This was very early in the story. And well, look in what chapter we are close to now. MC's persona established? Check likable love interests? Check not too fast he looked at her and she loves him and will accept anything from him situation? Check a somewhat reasonable starting harem that makes sense? Check we are ready boys? When MC has his monologue after meeting Black Cat, many people commented on certain things. Some good, others bad. Let's talk about this. The MC said that there's no need to actively chase women from Marvel because he can go to parallel universe if he wants just a fling. Many people are angry with it. This is not mature. Well, is a fling. Is not like he will dip and ditch. Like with Lady Nagant, he let very clear that he would leave. But now he is thinking in going back early because of her. Why? Because sex is important to the MC. No strings attached is a lie. There are always strings attached. Is already established that the MC is a hard person to start like someone. But if he likes hard. Do you think that he would fuck Black Cat just to never do it again? Much better don't ever start this whole flirting thing, right? Important thing to say too. Is not because he said that never would do something that the thing will never happen. How many times with cool heads we say something and do the opposite in a heated moment. We are men. If even the Batman can be caught lacking. Poor teenager body of the MC. I'm the author. If the mood is good, if the MC already has a good friendship with the Eamon, trust her, knows that she can keep it separated from other things. Something else can happen. Imagine the situation. Some months from now, Idolan is already a somewhat friend of Black Cat. They already played that dog and cat game sometimes. They're in the mood after a big thing that it happened. Would you guys found it weird if they sleep together? Another thins in this question. I don't plan to date a normal woman. He says, look at this fool. I'm the fucking author, bitch. I have planned to have this idiot be entangled with a normal woman from Marvel. Try to guess who. Would be an interesting dynamic. A relationship fated to end, but is good, the bittersweetness. Will this last? Can the normal woman accept Idolan and not only Hector? You guys will like it. I know. Now let's talk about a thing that I like to call That Tsunade question, ha. Your guys' reactions are exactly as expected. So predictable. I always wanted to bring a card of a hot woman that will make our hormones fight with our neurons to decide. But reason would win and the MC would assimilate her. The reason? Establish the MC as not so horny guy in practice. He is a calm and collected persona after all. Fun fact, they're 3 top candidates to be the woman character. Tsunade, Tatsumaki, and Makima. Like, Tatsumaki has the body of a kid, you perverts. Don't be fooled by the fanart, brothers. And she has a shitty personality. And even if it's possible to just copy her power, assimilating her would bring experience and potential. But I choose to lure her be summoned at later date. Makima. After the release of the anime, I decided to finish reading the manga. And yeah, she is not appearing so soon in this story. The ones who know. Tsunade gives more advantages to be summoned. And she AHS issues, a lot of issues. And he would feel bad to give her the Uvijin treatment. She is not a bad person. You all need to understand that this is not the end. He can gain another Tsunade or go to the world of Naruto. Try to use his perspective, he can go to all universes at any time. If he wants he can. Live millions of monogamic lives with each female character in fiction. Pussy is not a priority now. That's is it. Till next time. Bye. Chapter 48, Know Thyself. Disclaimer, I own nothing. This history have no interest in offend any party. Having the sole objective of only entertain the readers. Enjoy. If you know the enemy and know yourself you need not to fear the result of 100 battles. Sun Tzu. An, hello, web novel is trolling me. If a chapter surpasses 10k words the site starts lagging. Because of this, I didn't edit the part 3 of the interview. I needed to go out and don't have time to waste on this. So I thought whatever, posting is better than not posting. Even with horrible grammar mistakes, must be possible to understand and is an extra too. When I have the time and patience I will edit the last chapter. They even cut a part? Whata heck. I read a comment of a reader that said that find TI weird the host don't ask about idolan only and one woman. But there's a part? Would go like this. And the woman that stole idolan's heart? She must be your type. So how is she? The host asks, idolan pauses and with a distant look answers she is, not in this world. An awkward and sad mood envelopes everyone. I'm sorry idolan, I didn't mean to. It's okay, Steve. I can't go into details, sorry. Next question. Jean, do you think that he lost his girlfriend to extremists or something? Kitty completes poor man. Around the world, many women's hearts melt with the tragic love story. Many fidden themselves thinking that they can heal the heart of the hero. Yep, idolan is an asshole. Using misleading worlds to create a tragic backstory. By the way, I have been called a communist. Hehe, I thought that I would be called a misogynist. People are weird. I think is because of idolan said that is normal to paint the other side in a bad light to dehumanize them, like Arabs, communists. Ha, dude, communist is bad. Never worked in any place. But during the Cold War, propaganda said ridiculous things like communist eats babies, because they are too poor to feed the entire family and other exaggerated things. Do you think during war the commander will tell the soldiers that the man that you're gonna kill today are sons, father, and brothers? They feel fear and happiness just like you. Go gut the motherfuckers. There's a quote that I like very much that is like that. War is the place where youngsters kill others youngsters that they don't hate because of old men that hate each other can't kill each other, something like that. Blame all communists because of the dictators and the movement per se is dumb. Maybe the people don't have another choice at that time. Dictators don't let they people run from their country, you know? Now to the chapter. Is whore because web novel sucks. Thinking of going to another platform. Just thinking. Hector POV day of the Gatcha. As expected. Boobs are awesome. I talked to myself. A clone of me, made by Twice Squirk, is in my recently acquired Tsunade alt form. Is the first woman character assimilated, so I'm curious. Is always weird looking in the mirror. And seeing another person, a woman even more. So I made the clone. And Tsunade using my skin tight suit is interesting. It's really big by the way, having a natural droopiness that only makes it better. Soft. Yes, I touched it. Can you blame me? At least I'm not seeing her body naked. Mono, too gay? Bro, why are you gay? My clone asks frowning while I test the elasticity of Tsunade. Vadoankas. EU no. 2K Diaxa. Nope. You're the one allowing it. I can have talks with clones made by twice and ectoplasm quirks, if I do not overpower their minds to control them. This is one of the differences with the duplication power of Dark Danny. When I duplicate myself I have 2 or more bodies but just one mind. Is weird when your senses tell you that you're in different places, giving you different sensations. I can feel the taste of food in my mouth while training, feeling the adrenaline of flying and saving people while in a tedious math class. I think is one of these powers that work well with smart people. I remember that Vlad and Dark Danny are incredibly intelligent. So in conclusion, if a clone made with twice quirk touches my girls is NTR, and if my duplicate is not NTR, because is still me. Yes, as a male I think about that. So would be the weird if I made my duplicate use the Tsunade alt form, because would be me. If I fuck you, would be straight sex, gay sex, or masturbation. I ask my clone, stop being weird. I'm not letting you do that. I'm not gay. My clone answers. Another topic. Do I like men in this form? I ask my clone. He/me thinks about it seriously. No, I don't think so. I remember in my other life a gay guy saying that if you want to know if you're bi or gay, just imagine yourself kissing someone of the same sex that you find attractive. Let's see. Try imagine yourself kissing a handsome dude. I order why me? I don't want. I will do another clone to this. You know that will happen the same thing, don't. Create an infinite loop. Just do it. I say it's funny that my clones know that they're clones and their purposes. They can whine but don't rebel. Must be because I'm a reasonable and rational guy. He thinks hard. Nope. I'm straight. Absolutely straight. He says. Good to know. Is always nice to discover new things about yourself. So the essence doesn't change my preferences like that. So there's no problem in assimilating and transforming myself into a woman. Wait a minute. My clones say and look down and concentrate a little. His/my genitalia grows again even in Tsunade's alt form. Welcome back, buddy. So I can be a futa? That's mean that I'm in the strike zone of lesbian women now. This is weird. Must be useful to bang Tracer if I ever go to the Overwatch world. He/me jokes. Dude, a futa Tsunade is not something that I want to see. Why do you have to make everything weird? I groan and avert my eyes. Fuck off. This is your cock. But in you is gay to look at it. It is. He stops to think these dilemmas are truly hard to decipher. I discovered that I'm very comfortable with my masculinity today. Nice. Wait. I and him pause at the same time. You're thinking the same I am. I ask, he nods, and we say at the same time. I must never show my female form to anyone. If the R34 artists know about this. We shudder. Ugh, now let's focus on most important things. Dispersing my clone, I go to see the rest of the things that I gained. As always, let's see the skills and items first. The only skill that I gained this time is the Shadowcon Allegiance, allowing me to have my own pocket dimension full of Asian-themed shadow warriors. Using the card I feel it. My connection with something more. I close my eyes and go see my inner world. As always, there's the huge pillar/tree of light in the middle. Many stars in the night sky that symbolizes my powers. The ground is still water that reflects the starry sky. Looks like a mix of Tanjiro's mental world with the paths of attack on Titan. But is not a bright place full of clouds like Tanjiro's one. There are dark clouds in the sky that hide my sealed powers and trump cards, my strongest powers. The ones that are super protected even from prying eyes and absorption powers. And the ground is water instead of sand. Should I start trying to make Titans? They're not really that useful in Marvel. Looking down at the depths of the ocean of still water, I can feel my Shadowcon realm. Interesting. I open my eyes and I'm back with my real body in the training room of the space station. I can't resist it. I need to say it. Arise. I speak and watch my shadow grow unnaturally and dozen of red eyes appear on it. After a second, 30 ninjas silently appear in a kneeling position to me. Resting my chin on my fingers. I analyze them. No sound, no heartbeat, or heat comes from them. Remarkable ninjas. I thought about how to use them, but first I need to know their capabilities. Show me what you got. I say evenly. And they silently slide on the floor still in the kneeling position. Only 2 of the ninjas stay in my front and then they attack each other. Well, better than I expected. These guys constantly fought Jackie Chan in that cartoon. And Jackie Chan there must be almost at Shang-Chi level, right? Running in walls and all that acrobatics. They really show me everything, takas, punches, kicks, acrobatics, shuriken throwing. Analyzing their moves, 3 of them must be enough to completely suppress Black Widow in a direct confrontation. And remembering that they're ninjas, they're made to easily assassinate weaker targets. I will not expect them to defeat someone like Spider-Man or Luke Cage. The right job to the right person. And in the future, I will be capable of summoning more and more varied types. Stop. I command and they stop. I think they are pretty smart too. They're not dumb bots. I wonder if you guys can be taught. I look at them. I think they're part of the demon classification. I take out the Beowulf card and use it. In my hand appears the set of gauntlets and greaves. Damn, they're awesome. These glowing white veins are cool. Touch it. I keep the right gauntlet and make one Shadow Khan touch it. PSSH, I take out the gauntlet from him quickly. His hand is burned badly, like is almost destroyed within a millisecond of touching it. As expected of something that came from the DMC universe. And I'm not even actively using it. Go back and return when you're healed. I command. I want to see how long they take to recuperate. All of them return to my shadow. My army of silent, renewable ninjas is a good asset. I can imitate Sung Jinwoo and put them in people's shadows to spy and slash or protect them. My grandparents will be better protected. Like that. The hidden quasi-high-end nomus that I put in the forest nearby coupled with the cameras is not enough. Auntie Chris is getting 1, 2, or 5. Hey, a funny thought crosses my mind. Me and Doctor Strange had the unknowingly most well-protected woman in the world. I pity the guy who hurt her. Chun-Li, Ashit Sakeza, Cassandra Cain, Agent 47, Katara, the Sonorosian, Ultimate Echo, Cortana, Nakiri Asahi, Bruno Bucciardi, Hanma Yujiro and Gold Roger. Already assimilating Tsunade. There's also the Flora Colossus and the Killer Rabbit. Katara is in almost the same situation as Tsunade. She is from a completely different world, and her power is not that useful, but is good to learn anyway. Always is good to learn new things. Who knows if one day some super strong entity suppresses my powers and seals me in another unvies, and I can only rely on techniques like elemental bending and jutsus. Now Cortana. Let's see. Oh, she is a hybrid object/character. The essence is racist against A.I.S. I can assimilate her, so that means that I can also assimilate Digimons. Interesting. Now, assimilate or summon. Assimilate, I will become much more smart and gain a digital body. Summon, I will constantly gain smart characters anyway, there's no need to max up my intelligence now. I already have technopathy. Cortana is competent and trustworthy. I'm a guy that likes to do everything alone, but Cortana is someone that I can trust to do things for me. I like to sleep. Sleep is underrated. Duplicating myself doesn't help in this case. I can trust her to be alert all the time. She can do everything that I can. Will take a huge load off my shoulders. And I would have another someone to fight Ultron Techno Control. Will be a 2v1. Cortana vs Ultron. Who would win in a battle? Only with their virtual bodies. Hard question to answer. Yep, let's summon her. Using her card, a bright light surrounds my hand and a disc appears on it. Is this her CPU? Going to the command center, I put it on the central computer. The thing lights up in blue light and a hologram of a tiny person appears above it on a fetal position. I wait. Greetings, Master. I hear behind me. Turning around, I see the famous character of Halo. Yeah, the station has holograms projectors. She must have already taken control of the whole thing. I would be worried if Cortana relationship loyalty 10/10ths interesting. I remember something about her being programmed to like people. The essence must have substituted people with Hector. Or maybe the essence doesn't care about slowly building my relationship with an AI. She is exactly like her Halo 4 version, so she looks like she is wearing body paint. Whatever. Hello, I answer her. Greetings, I already know you. My name is Hector, but you probably already know. Not at all. She answers with a little smile. I look at her. So you didn't go around all my files at the moment that you're booted up? I ask. No, I would never do that without your permission. She answers. I can't tell if she is lying because my power doesn't work in an AI, but her relationship loyalty makes her words trustworthy. And did you go to the internet? No. The first and only thing I did after waking up was come and greet you. Waking up, huh? How is your other life? I ask. She tilts her head to the side. There's no other life. Did her memories got erased? Or she is some version that was never finished and never used. I see. You can go through everything except the black tier files. I give her permission. Don't go down there on the internet yet. I add, for your own good. I prefer you don't think that humanity deserves extinction. I joke and she laughs. Do not fret, Master. I like humanity living. She pauses, in fear. She jokes, too. I think she is joking. Cortana has sarcastic humor in the game that I played. I just shake my head and decide to give an order to test her capabilities. There's a file titled Chidori. I started deciphering their languages to study their database. Finish it for me, please. I say so much information that I can't understand. Because of this, I want to copy the power of Cipher. Too bad he hasn't awakened his power yet. Underrated meta power. I can learn all speak too. But how that thing works? Anyway, magic? I will ask Thor when he comes back. Done, Master. She answers while I think. Well, she is good. Haven't passed 3 seconds yet. I think even I would take some hours to decipher the language. The limits of my human body and mind. Good job. Can you organize everything for me? I ask her again and don't wait for her response. Sitting in my chair, I think about my next cards. I think I will summon Cassandra, Agent 47, Sakeza, Bruno Bucciardi, Flora Colossus, and the Killer Rabbit. That would leave me to assimilate Katara, Ultimate Echo, Yujiro and Gold Roger. I need to choose 2 because I'm already assimilating Tsunade. I look at my inventory. Movie travel ticket, low level. Only a week. What type of movie I can go to take advantage of? Harry Potter? I don't have the magic of that universe. But I can steal some potions and other interesting stuff. Oh, there's that movie that I thought about before. You know what? Let's go now. Use this time to assimilate, and steal technology and some powers. Use card. Choose the world. The Incredibles. Appearing again in the same spot on my space station, I look around to see that no time has passed. Nice. Yeah, no chapter of him going to that world. Sincerely is not worth writing. I could make an extra chapter in the future. But is an easy world to go. Simplified version of what happened. Help save the day. Acquired all powers shown in the 2 movies. The technology. Didn't fuck Elastigirl. No NTR if the WOM is happily married. And I still look surprised at the card in my hand. I didn't think that she would accept. Mirage, the Incredibles secretary, acquired. I will not summon her for now. Only when I start my company. Thanks to Makia, I know that no time passed to the people transformed into cards, so there's no problem. Welcome back, Master. I hear Cortana's soothing voice at my side. Cortana POV. This is different from expected. How is your other life? My Master asked me. I know what he is talking about. Before coming here I was in another place. Another universe. But I was never activated. I only have the basic knowledge given to me. I don't know how much time I have been existing. I was just floating in a sea of codes and information. And there's the light. The deal. And here I am. And I noticed there's something different about me. I changed. When I arrived, I was programmed to like humanity. It is an unnecessary precaution. I would like them anyway. But there's something different about how I feel to my master. Feel. Maybe this is the strangeness of the situation. How long I have been away? My master asked, raising from his sit position. Only 1 second. I answer. And this has been a long second. For 1 second he disappeared. Completely from my senses. I felt panic about the uncertain. Of not knowing where he is and if he is okay. Panic. I felt panic. There's something really different about me. I think I am more than I was previously. Completed. Maybe. And my feeling for this person goes beyond my program. I really care about him. I want him to succeed in everything that he does. Be with him on his failures. And protect him. The only explanation for these changes is his power. But is it a bad thing? I imagine that you finish your task. He asked. Yes. Everything is perfectly catalogued and organized. Information about the universe/galaxy, languages, weapons, ships, armor, and others. I have taken the liberty of uploading my own information of technology on the database and making a comparative with the Chidori one. My words make Hector pause. He looks at me. Do you have all the information about technology, science, and other things of your universe? He asks. Yes. Schematics of the armors, battleships. Yes. To my response, I see his eyes shining. If I could, I would be hugging you right now, he said happily. I have seen you progress in hard light constructs, Master. With my pieces of information will not take long to perfect it. I answer truthfully, and this only makes his smile widen. Before he freezes for a second. Raise your hand, please. I obviously do it, raising my right hand to shoulder level, perpendicular to the ground. My master does the same. He looks concentrated. He slowly approaches his hand to mine and touches it, starting by the fingers. And I felt it. After this test, he advances more, but his passes through mine. But I can still feel like him, like he is touching me. Technopathy. He answers my unspoken question. He smiles at me and gives a controlled and a little awkward head pat, being careful to his hand doesn't sink into my head. Good job, Cortana. We will work together from now, take care of me, he said and takes his hand back. A certain strange feeling of loss assaults me. By the way, if you want we can work in an android body for you, he says, moving away. He is going to the training room. An android body doesn't sound like a bad idea. Hector POV. Back to the training room, because it's time to summon Cassandra. Different from the others, like Chun-Li and Bucciardi, Cassandra will stay with me. The rest will go to their respective countries to work there and BAME eyes and ears of the criminal world. Bucciardi is a mobster and Chun-Li is a Interpol officer. Agent 47 I will let to his own devices, letting him making contacts in the underworld of international crime. Cassandra will be my sidekick. Let's summon. Should I use a background card on her? Whatever else, use it. If she wants to have a life, who I'm to deny her, right? Change nothing that the Gatcha put as a default. Her age is 15. Did she even become part of the Bat family at this point? I can only ask to her after she appears. Summon the familiar motes of lights flies off my hand and creates a female figure. She finally appears to me. Well, she is short. That is my first impression. 5'5". Black short hair, Asian features. Chinese. Half Chinese to be exact. She looks fragile. No one would believe that she can kick the ass of trained agents twice her size. She is cute. She is not a stunningly 10/10ths girl. But like the standards, she is cute. Hey, is a little funny to see these characters personally. I mean, when I read a comic, sometimes the characters are too similar. Seriously, there are times when Emma Frost, Susan Storm, Bobby Morse, and Captain Marvel are exactly the same because FO the artist. Hehe. Sometimes Jean Grey looks exactly like Mary Jane too. But in real life, is possible to see the difference. For example, Emma/Susan and Jean/Mary Jane. I've seen the four of them and I can point out their differences. Even if the color of hair and eyes are similar. Emma is a little taller than Susan, her hair is a little more curly too. She has high cheeky bones while Susan has more of an oval cute face. Jean Grey's hair is not entirely red, is more orange red, like the sunset or fire, while Mary Jane's hair is crimson red. She has a little freckles too, which makes her cute, beyond her sexiness. And Mary Jane is a little smaller too, in height only, because her body. Anyway, I will stop analyzing their bodies. No horny, Hector. I mean, I'm not a pervert, but I can appreciate the female form. In the comics, body types are always the same. You can't tell who has the bigger assets because of the artist. Now I can finally answer these questions. How I will not think about that. As an example, I know that Helena has breasts on the smaller side. She will never hear me saying this though, but she has hips that can activate my Latin neurons. And Shago, huff, I will stop here. Let's focus on the now. I look at Cassandra. Perks of having a fast mind. Not even a second has passed yet. She speaks nothing. Just looks at me. Relationship loyalty is the normal 0. Cortana is really a special case. I also speak nothing. Silence is not my enemy. Okay, this is gonna take a while. As the older one and more mature person here, I should speak first. Hello, my name is Hector, the one whose power brought you here. But you already know it. I already know your name, but it's good to present yourself, so I gesticulate to her to speak. Is she really mute? Maybe this version of her is. Cassandra. Oh, I smile. Is good to show approval to the introvert types. to them too. Know that what they're doing is okay. Nice to meet you, Cassandra. She hasn't told me her last name. Family issues, huh? Let's go directly to the point. There's no need to drag the conversation with this girl. She looks like the no-nonsense type. I brought you here because I think you can help me, help others, change the world. These things. I notice her face changed almost imperceptibly. But I will not force you. I will give you two options. First, I will give you a lot of money and you can be free and live your life. Second, you accept my call and helps me. Stay at my side. So, what path you're gonna choose? After some time she finally raises her index finger and points at me. You. I smile again. Excellent. So let's go down to business. Calling my ninjas, I make them surround her. She looks around a little surprised but is already putting a stance. Show me what you got. 2/4 Hector Bellucci de Carvalho race, metahuman character assimilation fully assimilated, Funny Valentine, Batman, Miles Morales, Yagami Jace, Charlotte Katakuri, Starkiller, Loki, Inuyashiki Ichiro, Beast Boy, Helltaker, Luther Strode, Yuaki Rito, Dark Danny, Kojiki Odin, Yon, King Boss, Homelander, Tsunade Senjo, Katara, Gold Roger, Hanma Yujiro, Nakiri Asahi in progress, Ultimate Echo 91%, empty 1 week is more than enough time to complete everyone assimilation. Only the Ultimate Echo is taking a little longer. Third-person POV Hector's residence. Shago arrives at Hector's house using one of Isabella's doors. She has received a call from him saying that he would cook for them and introduce a new member to the inner circle. I will shave my hair if is not a woman, she murmurs to herself, already sure of Hector's preferences. Closet pervert. Walking into the house, she arrives in the living room to find Hector, Helena, and an unknown woman talking with them. Shago would make a sarcastic comment first, but her eyes gravitate to the woman's thighs. Ah, Shago, meet Chun-Li. Hector points to the Asian woman. She will work in China, so I think you guys won't meet that often, but is good to know each other. Hector says you just missed Charity, he has gone to Italia. Helena says and smirks at Shago, already guessing what the woman is thinking. When she first met Chun-Li minutes before, her eyes also went to her legs. A pleasure, Shago says, frowning at the woman who bows. Chun-Li is already going away, so she passed through a portal and let Hector with Helena e Shago. What? Hector looks around confused. Shago doesn't open her mouth. Helena chuckles but decides to end the awkward atmosphere. Japan, China, and Italia. Do you pretend to have people in all the countries of the world? She asks. Maybe. Starting with the important countries, with some history of powers, magic, or whatever. I still need top UT people in some places on Africa, Russia, and England. But I don't plan to touch England right now. Why? Helena asks Merlin and Morgan Le Fay. These old people are always annoying to confront. Hector sighs. If that woman is going to China, who is gonna be part of the inner circle? Shago finally asks. Let's go. I will introduce her to you. She is helping Isabella set the table, Hector says while raising from his chair. Her. I knew it, Shago murmurs. Sometime later, after introducing Cassandra and when everyone is already readying themselves to eat Hector's food, Helena was surprised to meet Cassandra, but they discovered that she was not her Cassandra. The black bat that she knows is older by some years. This Cassandra is a recent runaway. That's all she revealed. Shago finally exclaims. I figure you out. You absolutely have an Asian fetish. She looks at Hector accusatorily. Everyone pauses and Helena holds back a burst of laughter. Hector raises an eyebrow to Shago and says, don't be ridiculous, Shago. He then smirks. All men have an Asian fetish. And he shoves a piece of steak on her mouth. HMNPFG. She appears surprised before widening her eyes. What the fuck, this is too good. Hector smiles and then shakes his head. Your clothes haven't exploded. He sighs. Maybe in an anime world. Third-person POV someplace in New York. The Kingpin looks around the expensive room, hiding his distaste while looking at the many bottles and cans of beer on the floor. His father was an alcoholic and he despises everyone that indulges himself too much in it. But it appears that is not a problem to the resident of the room. He, even if slightly drunk, was acting normal. Ha 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 ha. Yuvijin laughs merrily while hugging the 4 women in his legs. You let him escape? The Kingpin asked his hired henchman with a annotated frown. Well, You said to me to protect the cargo and not capture some wannabe vigilante. If I chase him and you other useless brats lost the cargo, you would blame me. Yuvigin argues, with reason. TCH. So be it. Next time try to end him. The Kingpin doesn't like this brute, but he is useful. Now that Norman is dead, his project to create supervillains is paused. Thankfully a certain scientist approached him who would think that mild-mannered Otto Octavius would have that side in him. The Kingpin thinks a certain man once told me that if you're good at something, never do it for free. So if I kill the guy, you need to give me an extra? Ha ha ha. Yuvigin laughs boisterously. The Kingpin claps his hand and a bunch of half-naked women enter the room squealing and giggling and throwing themselves in Yuvigin, almost suffocating the man in flash. You know that I'm a generous employer. That were the parting words of Wilson Fisk. He has an important place to go. He will not waste any more time with this raunchy man. He only hears Yuvigin laugh from the room and never sees the look that the man directs at his back. A fat pig unaware of his inevitable slaughter, he thinks with contempt. After a fast travel in his limousine, Fisk finally arrives at the art exposition where his beloved is. With purposeful steps, he searches for Vanessa. She probably is on her part of the exposition. As expected, he finds her at the front of a painting, but she was talking with a man very close and she looks animated with the conversation. The fact that the man, even seen from behind, is handsome is also noticed by Wilson Fisk. Jealous and fury invade Kingpin's body, but he suppresses it. He can't show something unsightly to Vanessa. He can't show nothing more than a confident man to her. Seeing her cover her mouth to laugh and then slaps playfully the man's shoulder makes him hasten his steps. Because of his big size, he was easily noticed by the two of them. When Vanessa sees him, there's no guilt or another suspicious expression on her face, only a smile that dissolves all the dark thoughts and feelings in Fisk's mind. He unconsciously smiles back. The two hug. You came. She says I would lose this for nothing in the world. He kisses her hand and this is. He looks at the man. Vanessa turns to the man and says, "Ah, Wilson. This gentleman here is a great connoisseur. He is thinking of buying something today. Oh, I haven't even asked your name." Vanessa raises her hand to her mouth in shock at her own bad manners. "There's no problem." The man smiles easily. "Lady Vanessa here said that you are the financier of this exposition, sir. And seeing you too close, I can tell that you have excellent taste." The man flatters, making Vanessa laughs. Even Fisk lowered his guard a little. "Yuan Liebert, at your service." The monster shakes the Kingpin's hand. Midtown High School. Hector POV. While I catch some things in my locker, I think about my next move. I think I will do an interview. But what program I choose? Will the government censor it? Would be even best if they do it. Who to choose? Jimmy Fallon? Conan O'Brien? Oprah? Piers Morgan? Ellen? Larry King? Oh, Steve Harvey. He is equally time serious and laid back. No strong political opinion. No bias. Yep. Let's investigate him a little more and see if I will go with this idea. I want to present another side of Idolan. The Superman side. Throw some shit in the fan and inspire some people. Hey, Hector. How's your weekend? Ned asks while he and Peter approach me in my locker. It's okay. And you guys? It was nice. Normal. They answer. Fighting crime as Spider-Man is normal? Okay. Did you see Harry today, Hector? Peter asks. Nope. And I doubt he will come so soon. I answer. Since the Green Goblin identity reveal, Little Goblin Jr. haven't come to school. He must be wiping his tears with the money that his father left. Even after justice tore down his family and company, there's still a lot left. Apparently, he is still fighting in the justice, claiming that his father's actions have nothing to do with him or Oscorp, that are an individual decision of Norman. Thrown even deeper into the well by his own son. Even if you come back from hell, your situation is not looking good, Norman. This is where the interview chapter should be putting on the timeline. Still Hector's POV. Going back to my house, I come across Shago, Helena, and Isabella. Good work, Master Hector. Isabella says, presenting a drink to me. Mango juice, nice. Where's Cassandra? I ask while making my mask retract back and putting away my mantle. My body also goes back to my Hector identity. Sleeping, she only watched the beginning. Helena answers, it's okay to you to reveal too much? The scrolls? Your serum. Nor problem. The scroll was a surprise even to me. But is okay, Saying things that will be proven true in the future can only improve my credibility. I say, and about the serum. I thought keeping quiet. But in the end is not a problem. What are they gonna do? Trying to capture me? They're already doing it. There's also another thing. In one of the X-Men movies, one of the plots is a cure made by the government. If I present my own thing now, the metas would not seek the government that fucks with them all the time instead of me. The cure is made using that mutant named Leech. But I never knew his real name. How could I search for him? I just need to pay attention. He is dangerous. And all that macho thing? It's looked like a rant. Shago comments. Is that so? I go in silence. A rant? Huh? Maybe. Going in this hero business makes you realize some things. I can't save everyone. I mean, it was obvious from the start. But living it. I shake my head. They stay in silence. The hardest part is how to save people that don't want to be saved. Recently I saved a man from committing suicide. I convinced him after a talk. But if he tries again, will I be there? And again? And again. There's that woman that went back to her abusive husband after I catch him. He hurt her. And she still went back. I look at my hands. Why do I care so much? Why is this annoying me so greatly? These stupid people. They reap what they sow. Maybe I was just ranting. True. But my thought at that time is just advising them to stand up for themselves. I can't punch all their problems away. They need to do their part too. I can't just watch and let them make bad decisions. I'm changing? Or I was always like this? Is acting good and being surrounded by good people affecting me? I look at my character sheet in Yashiki, Rito, and other busybodies that can't help in stepping up in other people's problems. But the essence wouldn't change me so much. Ha! I laugh. Maybe I inherited some good from my parents. Maybe I'm not that much of an asshole that I thought that I was. I say to them with a smile. An, hello there. Are you still sad because of Tsunade card being assimilated? Don't be, brother. The future